I'm not going to Pottstown.
Yes, you are. Perry will be in
To
Pottstown
be
on the
sexually
13th of May.
assaulted,
13th of May.
sexually manipulated, or sexually
Hey
interrupted
Perry, no one's
or
gonna. Where are
disturbed
you getting this
by
sexually
men.
manipulated thing? No one's gonna. Where
Any
you?
man tries to fucking insult me
Where are
sexually,
you getting this from? No one's even claimed that.
all the gay guys that want to fucking assault me.
No one wants to assault you. You could really see how crappy these blinds are from this angle. You could really see the poor craftsmanship and the dated nature of them, and just how disgusting and awful they are from this shot here. Perry, are you just gonna walk away, or are we gonna do a proper goodbye?
Have a good night. I'll see you later.
Wow, host of the century here, guys. All right, everybody, we'll see you on Friday. Bye, everybody.
Ciao. Ciao.
Ricky Horny, Ricky Horny.
By the way, I don't know who did the Bruce Willis, Ricky Horny version, but I'd really love a copy of that. If whoever submitted that can get that to me, I'll add it to the roster. So I'm glad that worked out. Perry's you know uh, live thing from the patio. I think that was really good. Great job, Jim, tonight. Great job, Garrett, as always. Great job, everybody that submitted. By the way, I wanted to shout out, and I didn't do it. I wanted to shout out whoever is responsible for the rapping Randy from last week. I feel like that didn't get enough attention because that was um, uh, last week. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I thought I thought Rappin' Randy was phenomenal. He had the voice down. Everything was great. So yeah, and there was a couple of great standouts tonight. Somebody asked last week, and now that I've had time to think about it, I can answer more succinctly. Somebody said, "What's the a Grimace in Pain?" Of course, yeah, I think I knew that Grimace in Pain for the Rappin' Randy. What PCL tropes am I kind of sick of? And I said 92, which is always my go-to answer, but I gotta. I don't know why I didn't think of this, um, especially given the current circumstances. But the fake celebrity female stuff, like the him going on and on about Scarlett. It wasn't as bad this week, but like last Monday, it was just brutal. So yeah, that one I'm getting a little sick of, and not that I'm sick of the content because I'm not, but I'm sick of Perry's reaction to the whole Steelathon thing. And even the I can't go, I can't every 2 seconds, and it's kind of. I know something's getting very penetrating when it is when it encroaches on uh, our normal day to day talks. So yeah. Hey Tom, when will the last Mailbag Monday be uploaded on YouTube? I don't remember when the last Mailbag Monday is, but if you're talking about Mailbag Friday, it doesn't get uploaded. It just stays on, barring an incident where the stream crashes and we have to restart and it's in 2 parts. I'll edit it together. Or if Perry says something stupid that I want to cut out, maybe I'll re-upload it. But yeah, the problem is with stuff that was live is it's not under the normal videos tab. If you're online, you got to click on the live tab, and you click on the live tab, and you'll see all of the all the live streams. But that was on there. The last media share streams go to Patreon. If you catch them live, but they're archived on Patreon. So you got to be a Patreon member to see the media share streams. We're going to start doing YouTube memberships, and then they'll be available if you're a YouTube member and stuff like that. Yeah. How's Teddy doing? Teddy's doing a lot better, but it took him a long time to recover. He like when he was on the air on Friday, he was not as sick, but he just was very weak, low energy Teddy because he wasn't eating because he was like throwing everything up, like everything. Like last Wednesday night was really bad. Like he slept in my bed with me so I can keep an eye on him. And I had like this Tupperware giant bowl that I had, and the second I heard him cough, I was just right there for all the Teddy puke to go in there. So I didn't get much sleep then, and he was a little better Thursday night, and then he just didn't have his normal energetic self. Teddy's usually completely full of life. He's extremely funny, and he's bursting with personality, and he was just kind of zapped to that. And he's finally starting to get back to himself. He went back to school today, so that was good. But I'll tell him you guys were asking about him. That'll make him feel good. So he's doing much better. He's doing much better. Somebody asked, Tom, would you say Perry's behavior this stream was worse than usual? I felt he had a really bad night, and I hope it can be better tomorrow. I don't think he was that bad at all tonight compared to if I'm using Friday as a benchmark where I thought he was just unbearable. I thought he was fine, and especially given the fact that I'm not using the earpiece with him, so I'm not really tempering him at all. Like, hey, I'm doing pretty much everything live if I need to say something. And, considering that's the case, I thought he was fine. Tonight, a couple of outbursts here and there, but no more than usual. I didn't think he was that bad at all. But yeah. And thanks for all the nice wishes about Teddy. He's gonna be okay. We had this thing on Saturday, and he really wanted to go to it. It was my cousin's son's birthday, and he's 3. He just turned 3. He was born during like the height of lockdown. So we're going 3 years ago. So you're talking like mid-March 2020 was when he was born. So in the height of the world is ending type stuff. So it was really his first proper birthday party, and Teddy wanted to go to it. And this is my mom's sister, my aunt's daughter, and my mom's sister, my aunt, lives in New Jersey, and me and my dad went with Teddy, even though Teddy wasn't quite up for it, but he wanted to go. He was kind of lethargic at the thing, and she lives pretty deep in Jersey. And I gotta say, it was so bizarre to go to my aunt's house without my mom, because I just always associate going to my aunt's with my mom. It's her sister, and they were very close, obviously. And it didn't really hit me until we were like literally walking up to the door, and I kind of like, my dad and I kind of looked at each other, and we both had the same feeling at the same moment. I was like, I cannot fathom the fact that we are going to my Aunt Kathleen's without my mom. It just felt so weird, and it didn't hit me the whole drive there. It didn't hit me at all. But just like getting up to the door and walking through the door and into her place, I mean, it was just it was surreal. But anyway, it was a nice thing because I really wanted to make a statement to that side of our family. Our family's very small. And I didn't want to skip this. It was, it's something that we could have easily skipped, just saying like, hey, we can't make it. I'm sorry. My sister didn't make it. And I wanted to show my aunt that we're still very much a part of our family and family events. And this was the first thing on the docket. There might be other things later in the year. But this was kind of important, not so much because it was a kid's birthday party, but because it was making a statement saying like, listen, we're going to go out of our way to go to this. And, even though mom's gone, but we still very much want to be a part of, this side of the family. We don't want to lose touch. And not that would happen, but you know what I mean? We wanted to make a statement. So that's what we did. It was just it was very surreal being there without my mom. So Teddy was there, and, that was my Saturday, and I didn't have much time, Perry was calling me left and right on Saturday because he was apologizing for his tantrum on Friday, which I'll get to. But yeah. Hey Tom, was I surprised that Perry was so offended by the lyrics to Under Pressure? Yes, I was. That took me by surprise. Out of all things, I thought he was gonna go off on the, the Name Guy song, which I always love those mashups where it's like a popular song that goes into the Name Guy music. But he went into the thing, so yeah, that was pretty good. And yeah, thanks everybody for the nice comments about my mom. It is extremely difficult to lose a parent, and there's no rule book for grief, and I've been dealing with it in different ways, this and I had a nice time at the party. It was very my aunt's husband is Italian, and he has a very strong Italian family where he has sisters and they have husbands and they have kids, and it's always a big Italian in terms of like the stereotypical New York or New Jersey Italian thing where they're just they're funny, they're all great cooks, and they all bring like their catered food over, so it was great. You definitely don't walk out of that house hungry. So, and they were all really great. Like, that side of the family, when my mom passed, they came to the wake. They not only did they all come to the wake, they all brought their kids. And then the very next day, they came to the funeral mass in the morning. And it's a long trip for them because they live in New Jersey. So, it just kind of strengthened that bond to that side of the family to me. And, when I was younger, like in my 20s, I would always find excuses to get out of Thanksgivings or Christmases because they were such big rooms where everybody was packed in, that side of the family and our side. And I was like, I think I just want to hang out with my girl, whatever girl I was dating at the time. And now looking back, I really regret that because they were, they are a part of my family as well. And I think my dad and I both recognize that fact with how they were. Somebody says, I lost touch with my family. I don't even have funerals anymore. People just get cremated. Well, that's becoming more and more popular, the cremation. I know. When Perry said he was going to get raped in PA, he opened the floodgates. I know. I heard him say that out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my God, there's going to be an avalanche. I mean, they didn't really come in tonight, and I'm finding different ways to kind of streamline things where, I turn off media share at a certain point. I actually raised the minimum tip comment to $6.66. I'm actually going to change that back now while I'm in here so I don't forget it for Friday. But I was shocked at that. I was shocked at that. I don't know where that came from. He was doing that on Friday too. It's like he's regressed in some way with the gay fears that he has, for lack of a better term, where like he was screaming on Friday, "You're trying to make me gay," and that was a big thing that set him off on Friday. A couple other things set him off on Friday, but it was that McDonald's delivery, and again, he just went ape shit, and I blame myself because. Not that I blame myself, but I kind of do. I normally check in with Perry after a stream, especially when he's like signing off in a bad mood or whatever. Like just now, I called him real quick while the music was playing before I came back on, just to check in, like, hey, good job. That went really well. Don't forget to, clean up that stuff. And he's got a checkup appointment tomorrow with the doctor early. So I said, good luck with that. I'll talk to you later. Blah, 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 and that was fine. On Friday, I didn't do that because I had Teddy here, and he was in the next room as I was doing the stream, and I was constantly going back in, to check on him. And, he was kind of just laying down watching SpongeBob SquarePants, which is his favorite show. And, but, I wanted to tend to him afterwards, so I didn't really call Perry as I usually do. And of course he lost his mind. He got some delivery and he just went absolutely crazy, ballistic, destroyed the boat, and started trashing all of our PCL artwork. It wasn't until much later on that we, I finally got a hold, because he turned his phone off. I couldn't even get a hold of him. And then when I checked his ring cam, I showed that video earlier on the stream. He was like hauling all his pictures out to the trash. Just so stupid. Like he's thinking like he's gonna get one over on us, and what he's really doing is screwing himself. But in a way, not that I'm ever going to spin this into a good thing, because I was very upset about it. You can ask Jim about it. Like Jim and I were, and Garrett. Like those are the only two people I told what he did, and I was very upset. And like, what am I going to do with this guy? This guy is just, every time you build a road for him, he just puts a brick wall in front of it, and it's just ridiculous. But now, there's a lot of those pictures that have been there for a while, and they're kind of gross. Like I even noticed it a little bit when I was there 2 years ago, but I could see it when he's up close, because he's taking pictures of them for me, and I could see like little coatings of things, like splashes of, who knows, it could be fish guts from a year and a half ago, whatever. So now, if somebody wants one of those, and we'll display more of them, and we'll do maybe a limited time thing. If you want the ones that are in Perry's apartment, he can sign those and send those out. If you want one that's autographed, I can have a new one sent to Perry. Obviously, I got to order a new one and everything. And he can sign it and send it out. Or it can just be sent directly to you from the place. So we'll get into all that. Does Tom ever read this chat? Yes, he does. I read all the chats on After Hours. Not so much during the stream. It's hard for me to keep up with chat during the stream. I'll glance at things sometimes if it appears on the screen, but no. Somebody says, if we sub with our Twitch Prime sub, do y'all get credit or money for it? Yeah. Yes, we do. The channel does. Perry does. Twitch, I think it's like 50-50. So yeah, yes. Subbing on Twitch is overall a good thing for the channel if you can do that. George says, stoked for the Prince. Sucked he did that, but it's still be cool. Yeah, it's still fine. It's not the end of it's really not the end of the world. And I do give Perry credit that after his rage, he went to the trash to get them, and he did regret it. I mean, there was a period when I was on the phone with him, and I didn't record it. Not unfortunately, because I don't think I would have played it anyway, because he was just so out of his mind, to the point where I can't even do an impression of it. He was just like yelling nonstop, not taking a breath, and he just sounded crazy, like absolutely crazy. And he was calling me every name in the book and how he's done with me and blah, blah, blah. And, I let him kind of unload, and I was like, okay, are you done now? And, and when he finally came down and and realized what he did, he regretted it, like legitimately regretted it, unprompted, regretted it. And then he was like, what do I do? I said, well, where are they now? And he said, they're in the trash. I said, well, go get them. They're all busted. I destroyed them all. So he took them out to the trash and then did the extra measure of like breaking them in half and kicking them with his foot or whatever. God, if I had access to the security cameras at that apartment complex, it was probably recorded somewhere. So anyway, he did get them all back and brought them in, and I did have the thing. Perry didn't want you guys to know what he did. That he was ashamed, and he was afraid of it. Afraid of what you guys would say. Oh, Pat, did the waiter at Ruth Chris ever get tipped? Yes, I contacted Ruth Chris, and I took care of it. I made sure the guy was... Yeah, I found out the guy's name. Perry had the receipt, of course, in his wallet. And I called Friday night and I spoke to the guy on the phone, and I got his. He didn't have Venmo, but he had Cash App, and I sent him $50, so he was taken care of. It was just one less thing for Perry to do on Friday. I didn't want him going anywhere because he was so crazy. So yeah, I took care of it. But anyway, Perry didn't want you guys to know what he did. He wanted just to put the stuff back where it was, and then hang them up without mentioning what happened. And I even spoke to Jim about it, and I said, "What do do you think we could do this without telling anybody?" And I couldn't. There's just no way I could do that. I would feel guilty. I would feel guilty. I would feel dirty. I can't be dishonest to you guys, so I think you guys needed to know about that. Pat says, "Good to know." Yes, I mean, look. I was in the service industry. I know what it's like to be stiffed. And when Perry went to Ruth Chris, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, last week Pat sent Perry a $100 gift card to go to Ruth Chris, which is very nice. And of course, Perry's a surf and turf guy. I am not. I either surf or turf. I don't like surf and turf. And he sat at the bar, and there's a guy serving him and everything. And I told Perry before he left, Perry doesn't carry that much cash. He uses his cards for everything, as most people do. And I like to carry cash, especially if I'm going out to dinner or, whatever, going out to a bar. Because even if I'm not paying the bill in cash, I am definitely tipping in cash. And you should always, if you can tip in cash because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the server doesn't have to pay taxes on that because it's not written down. Well, once it's written down, it's on a, it's official, documented, and you're paying with your credit card or your debit card. They have to pay taxes on that. That's number one. Number two, they don't always get the money that day. Sometimes they have to wait around with it for it because it's on a credit card. So I always like to tip cash. Okay, and my another Tom's tip: if you're going to a place regularly, meaning you go there with your spouse or your friend or whatever, and you're going to whatever your local pub or anywhere, Japanese restaurant, whatever, you're going there more than once a month. Tip generously. Make sure you're tipping 25% or more because you're a regular face in there and they're going to take care of you. There's this really nice Chinese restaurant that we go to once in a while. It's expensive, but it's really good. It's an old school Chinese restaurant. Teddy loves it, and the people in there love Teddy. And I always, when I go there, which is not that often, but when we do go there, I make sure to tip well. And to the point now where the waiters fight over us when they want to sit in our section. And they always give us free stuff. They give Teddy free ice cream, or they give us an extra free whatever, a free drink, like a free Mai Tai or something like that. So if you're going, so two things. Tip in cash if you can. And if you're going to a place semi-regularly, 25% or more tip, okay? These people work really hard, and you know what? They're going to remember you, and when you come in the next time, they're going to take care of you. It pays to tip well. So that's my thing. And I always hate when Perry doesn't tip well, and I said to him when he was heading over to Ruth Chris with the gift card, Perry, make sure you tip well. Bring cash. Yes, sir. I'll take it out of the ATM. Of course, he didn't. He had 5 singles on him. So he left the guy 5 singles and whatever was left on the gift card. And I think there was maybe $8 or $12 left on the gift card. And as we all know, you don't tip with a gift card. That is useless. Don't tip on the gift card. That is so gauche. It's just moronic. So anyway, long story short, I got a hold of the guy. I sent him a Cash App. I told him, thank you. And the next time Perry comes in to take care of him. So, blah, blah, blah. Taken care of. What are you going to do? It's Perry, outside of the obvious things like bombs, things that can physically harm Perry, what's some things I wish people either don't or would stop sending Perry? That's a good question. You mean mailbag? I don't. I think. I think. I think you covered it. Anything dangerous is bad. Anything that could hurt her. Don't hurt Perry. But I'd have to really think about that. Nothing comes to mind. How embarrassing that you have to do that for him. It is, but you kind of come to terms with Perry, at who he is, and what he is. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing too. If you're using a coupon, which is obviously use a coupon if you have a coupon, but you got to still tip based off the full amount. Don't tip on the coupon discounted subtotal. Tip on the original subtotal before the coupon. I know that's obvious, but sometimes people don't know these things. Greg Lambert, we don't tip in Australia. I know some places don't tip, and that's fine. It's because you're the salary they makes up for that. But here we're a big tipping culture here in America, and a lot of people they work for tips, Oh, by the way, Gorilla, thank you. $10 super chat, a little tip for the stream. Thank you. That's very nice. I'm gonna put that in the TomB fun jar. We'll see. Greg says tipping from a gift card, that's surprisingly scummy, even for the Scaremaster. I know, and as I alluded to on Friday, that's not the first time I've experienced that. Someone Perry used to work with did the same thing, and it was fun. What if the service sucks, Kate? If the service sucks, absolutely, you should tip something, but maybe don't tip as much. But if it's a place you go to regularly, meaning like you're going to go back there, I would still tip well, and maybe make a note, on when you're filling it out, whatever you took issue with, like food was cold or something like that. But yeah, I'm not saying throw money around for bad service, but it's an old school thing. I just like to have cash on me. Do I tip on the grand total or pre-tax? Pre-tax is the way to tip. I used to tip on the full total, and that's the wrong way to go. Don't tip on that's too much. You tip on the subtotal. Tip on the subtotal. That's the way to do it. But I go, my thing is 20%. 20% on a minimum, and then if it's really good, 25% or more. And that comes from somebody that worked in the service industry. So, my dad's birthday is this coming Sunday, and it's a big deal because it's his first birthday, obviously, without my mom, and my friend and I. My best friend and I are taking him into the city to this very, very high-end Italian restaurant that my friend goes to. I'm not really into these high-end places necessarily, but my friend goes there. My friend knows some famous people, let's just say, and he goes to this place fairly regularly. It's a very semi-famous restaurant in Manhattan. And presidents have eaten there. It's a big deal, and it's called Il Mulino. If you ever Il Mulino, I don't know how to spell the rest of it. It's called Il Mulino, and we're going next week for his birthday. And it's a pricey place, so that tipping in a place like that, that's going to be I think I had to take out a loan because my friend and I are going to split the tab. But we're going to treat my dad there, and he's not that he's. I don't think he knows what he's in for. This is not a stuffy place though. It's actually a very small restaurant, but it's the best food I've ever. Some of the best food I've ever had because my friends treated me there before. And how's my dad? Good days and okay days. He's still very lost. I don't think he's having a hard time how to handle himself at night. He gets very lonely. He doesn't know like when to call it a night, like when to go to bed, that kind of stuff he was telling me about. I was gonna see if I can call him tonight to tell that amazing Willie Mays story. It's gonna have to wait for another time because he did go to bed, unfortunately, but eventually. Can we get another Denny's stream soon? Maybe. Maybe if we drive somewhere, I don't like him walking down Reseda Boulevard. It's such a crap area, and I worry about Perry walking down with that gimbal, in that neighborhood, honestly. So maybe if we drive. But yeah. Greg says, I'd pay to see the waiter's face when Perry told him the exact remaining $8 credit on the gift card as their tip. I know. Somebody tried to tell me this past, was it, I don't know, it must have been over the weekend. Like, hey, Tom, it was like an email. Like, hey, Tom, I just want to let you know that tipping on a gift card's fine. They get paid for that. And that's not true. I've heard the exact opposite. I've heard that people do not get paid from a gift card. So, what's the Willie Mays story? Well, it's for my dad to tell. My dad and I went out to dinner 2 weeks ago now, and he told me this Willie Mays story. He's got these amazing baseball stories from when he was a kid. Anyway, he didn't have this happen to him. This happened to a good friend of his, where his friend basically met Willie Mays in a very unique way. I don't want to say more than that, but I don't want to tell the story secondhand because I won't do it justice. It was just a great story. If you're a baseball fan, if you're a Willie Mays fan, if you know who Willie Mays is, even if you're not, it's a great story. And I said, oh my God, you gotta come on After Hours and tell it. Not that he knows what After Hours is, but he knows I do something like this because he was on the stream last year, and he told the story about how him and his friend stayed inside Ebbets Field after a night game and kind of snuck in, waited till everybody left, and then kind of snuck around the stadium and ran the bases and everything like that. And then they had to get out of the stadium, and they were trying to hop out of this one area before it closed. And as they were trying to get down this big gate, and I'm rushing through this, but my dad told it way better. He was caught by Vin Scully, who was the voice of the Dodgers, Willie Mays, Pee Wee Reese, and I forget who the other guy was, and they all helped him. They all helped these two guys down and get out of there. get out of there, which is a great story. But my dad, I don't know if it's posted publicly. It's definitely on Patreon. But it was right around this time last year where my dad, whatever that stream he was on, and he told the story. Amy says, I was a bartender for a few years, and we would get tips out of a gift card. I don't know if we were doing something illegal or something, but we did get goddamn tip out of that card. Maybe that was a while ago. I got to have the ravioli at Il Molino. I've had it. The mushroom ravioli specifically, the poutine ravioli, it is the best thing on their menu. It is fantastic. Yeah, my friend and I usually split an order of that. When we go, it's like a once a year thing that I go there. He goes a lot more frequently. He knows everything off the menu. And I even drink wine there, and I'm not a wine drinker, but that's the one exception. If I go to Il Molino, I will have a glass of wine. So when I go with my dad, I will do that. The story was like something out of a movie. I know. The Willie Mays thing, even more so. The new story is even more so. Garrett hates mushrooms. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them either, unless they're done right. Like, I don't mind them in an omelet. I don't mind them on a burger. But I'm telling you, Garrett, you will see God if you have these mushroom raviolis at this place. Do they put oregano on the mushrooms there? I don't know. I'll take a picture and I'll let you know. I'll have gone already by this time next week. My grandfather never watched baseball after the Dodgers left Brooklyn. Ian, my dad's very much the same way. My dad still talks about the Dodgers. He never got over it. A lot of his friends switched to being Yankee fans, which is crazy to me. My dad eventually became a Mets fan, but he doesn't love the Mets the same way he loved the Brooklyn Dodgers. Mushroom ravioli does sound disgusting. I thought the same as you guys. Listen, we'll all go. When Perry comes to New York, maybe we'll do a meetup at Il Molino. Perry can pay the bill, and we can all eat there. Cha-Cha hates truffle. You know, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm kind of over the whole truffle craze. I feel like truffle has been infused into so many things in the past, like 5 years specifically, and I'm kind of over it. I don't like truffle fries. I don't like truffle hot sauce. The truffle is too intense for me. I did like it at first, but I'm completely sick of it now. I don't like it. All right, cool. I'll have to make reservations now. Luckily, my friend, who I'm going with my dad, knows the maitre d' at I think the last time he was there, he ate it at the table next to him was Vince McMahon. That's the kind of people that usually dine there. That was like about a month ago. Yeah, mushroom ravioli is delicious. And look, this place is so high end. It's ridiculously high end. And I'm not saying it's just like expensive for the case. It's actually not that expensive, to be honest with you. If you looked at the prices of their menu, it's not as crazy as the place. You know, believe me, you're not leaving there. Two people, reasonable amount of food, and a couple of glasses of wine. You can walk out of there maybe $250, which, you know, is definitely high for a regular meal, but for a special occasion meal, it's not that bad. It's in New York City. It's in the West Village. There's also another location on Long Island, not far from where I am, but I've heard from everybody that the Long Island location just isn't as good. It's just not as good as the main location. The name of it's called Il Molino. I didn't know about it until my friend told me. I don't know about these places. Truffles and fries are the worst I've ever had. Yeah, I agree with you. If I ever, like, you know, I'm trying to cut down on fries, but, like, you know, if you get a burger and fries and, like, oh, do you want truffle fries or whatever? Absolutely not truffle fries. But there was a period of time where I was kind of into them. Ian says 250 is a once a month thing for us. Right. You know, it may be a little more infrequently for me, but yeah, a once in a while special occasion meal. So we're making a big deal out of my dad's birthday. My dad's like me. My dad doesn't make that big of a deal on his birthday. But I really want to I really, and my dad doesn't eat like that. He doesn't go to those kind of places. TomB eats truffalo. I'll tell you what, Cha-Cha, I don't mind truffalo sauce on hot wings. That's the only truffle-esque thing that I don't completely hate at this point, but that could change. Anyway, so my dad doesn't normally go to, you know, high-end places or fancy places. Once in a while, I'll take him to Peter Luger's for his birthday in the past, you know, a steakhouse or something like that. But no. So we're gonna go here, and I think his world's gonna be rocked. Sweet potato fries are good. Yeah, I like sweet potato fries, but yeah, duck fat fries are the best. I agree with that. Frank said that. Duck fat fries are the king of fries. Absolutely. Hard to find. Mitchell says, I've been tipped on card, cash, check, and gift card. Maybe it depends on the state. Yeah, maybe it does. And by the way, if I'm wrong on the gift card thing, that's cool. I've just been told by people that is gauche, and I believe that. I think it's lazy too, because the gift card normally doesn't come from you. It comes from whoever got you the gift card. I just think it's lazy and annoying. Can we get Perry to visit Cincinnati? Me, High Plains, and Dustin Hedberg can show him around. Skyline Chili is much better than Gino's East Pizza. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I would personally like to visit Ohio. Ohio is one of the few states I've not been to, and I would really like to try that Skyline Chili. I'd like to try those hot dogs. I would like to go to a Cincinnati Reds game. I kind of grew up. I was a Mets fan, but if I had a baseball player that I absolutely worshipped that was not a Met, it was Pete Rose. So during the 80s, I did watch as many Reds games that were like national. I remember seeing like, Pete Rose was like a manager player at that time, and he was going on his hit streak. And I just loved the way Pete Rose played. I believe Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. A big Pete Rose fan. So by proxy, I do like the Cincinnati Reds. So I would like to see a Reds game. I'd like to go to Cincinnati at some point. I just haven't had a reason to go. So he says, now I feel really poor. Don't feel poor if you're not dropping $250 on a dinner. That's a once in a while thing. I still have a gift card to Ruth Chris myself from PCL Christmas. I still have to go. I haven't had a chance to go yet. I'm a Braves fan. Well, Braves got a good team. What can you say? Barry Larkin was Barry Larkin was the guy that I remember the Mets tried to get Barry Larkin in 2000 in mid-season because Ray Ordonez, the Mets shortstop at the time, had an injury, and they were going on this playoff run. And Steve Phillips, the general manager at the time, was really pushing hard for Larkin, but obviously it didn't happen. But anyway, getting back to Friday with Perry, so Perry lost his mind. I finally talked to him. He finally came down. He brought all the paintings back in, and then he was just kind of exhausted for being so crazy. I almost thought that he missed some medication, where he was just like, didn't take the right pill or something like that because he was that crazy. I love you too, Mr. Patsy. But he's been doing other like annoying things. Like he told his apartment manager, who is not the biggest fan of PCL, about the steal-a-thon and how people were planning the steal-a-thon and coming into his apartment. And I'm like, can you please not mention these things to your management? But of course he's going to. General Dipwad, I just got off work and finally got to tune in. Well, sorry. sorry that you're tuning in during after hours. But yeah, so Perry had that long conversation, and I was like, Perry, please don't tell your manager anything. Just, I told them to keep their cameras on and catch anybody. I think the manager watches the stream, might even be watching this. And probably rolled her eyes and was like, whatever, Perry. But, the fact that he was even bringing that up. Keep in mind, it's the same guy that went up to them like, a year and change ago apologizing about all the animals in the hallway. I am so sorry about that tiger that was running up. Please, please, please tell that gentleman how sorry I am. These people bringing in these animals, it's disgusting. Can you imagine just being a fly on the wall for that conversation? It's just ridiculous. So, how many neighbors know who Perry is? That's a good question. A great many know who he is, and some people, listen. People in that, if you're in Perry's apartment complex, you're not in a good place in life. You've made a lot of mistakes, or maybe you're just starting out and you're trying to right the ship. You're not. Life isn't treating you well if you're in the Villa La Paloma. So I think a lot of people keep their heads down and keep to themselves. I think you're looking at a lot of divorced dads in there, a lot of recovering drug addicts. I'm making these up, but I don't think I'm that far off. So I think a lot of people keep their head down. A lot of other people, though, they do know who he is. You'll see it every now and again on the Ring camera, like how people interact with him. Some people just want to get away, and some people actually love him, like they are a thing. Jim says, Perry called. This is the Perry who called the FBI on Amy, the police on the Caravello Kings, and went to the Van Nuys courthouse to get a restraining order against Ronald McDonald. Of course he's gonna, The wheel. That's right. The wheelchair speeder. Is it Section 8? No, it's not necessarily Section 8, no. But it's just not the world's greatest place. But there's a lot of apartment complexes just like that in that area. I've seen them. And that's, getting back to the whole thing where, Perry's like savings, all the PCL stuff, the main stuff, like, the tip comments and stuff like that, that all goes, minus taxes and, expenses and stuff like that. But it all goes to like a master savings where, hopefully Perry has a nest egg for later in life. But also, I want him to buy a place. At least put a down payment on a place and start paying a mortgage instead of paying rent, and own his own place. That's a big, big goal of PCL, is for Perry to get his own place. And, when he's going to have enough capital to be able to do that is anybody's guess. It's certainly not at this point. But I really just want to get him the hell out of there. I really do. I want him to have a bigger space. I want him to have a nice place, and a place that we can have a nice little studio in. I was talking to Jim about this. I was like, if I could move Perry to Florida, that would be a dream. Like get Perry like a decent place in Florida, but he would never agree to move to Florida. But that would be a place where he could maybe afford, like a decent house or something like that. Are they ever going to fix the neighbor's door? I'm shocked that it's still damaged, to be honest with you. I'm shocked. That place is such a hellhole. And who knows when that pool will be up and running. Yeah, streaming house. I would love that. I would move, like, listen, as long as my dad's in the picture, I'm going to live near my dad. But I would live in Florida in a heartbeat. Taxes are decent. You're not paying insane gouging. New York, forget about. California, just as bad, if not worse. Florida's far from perfect. Florida's got plenty of issues, but the weather's nice. You can get some decent land. Perry hates Florida because of the humidity, I think, and humidity is he's been dealing with his neck because of the humidity. Can you imagine? But he can just stay in the air conditioning. I don't know. People have a lot of opinions on Florida. Is Stuttering John's moving to Florida? Is that true? I didn't realize that. Wavy G. TomB, thank you for playing along with the Jimmy Carter ex-president stuff. It cracks me up when I say, do it for President Carter. I like that as well. I enjoy those very much. And I always like coming in like, Perry, the man's dying. He's president of the United States. And I actually like Jimmy Carter. I not to get political, but I like Jimmy Carter a lot. And, political affiliations aside, I know Jimmy Carter is a notoriously flawed president. But probably the best example, and there's a couple examples of this in U.S. history where, the presidency, let's say, could be considered a failure, but that person becomes an extraordinary ex-president. You could point at Nixon for that. Nixon, if you know anything about Nixon's post-presidency, he became a great ambassador and really a much better man than he was when he was president. But Carter is the all-time champ when it comes to great human beings. And I know he is literally dying. He's in hospice care. He's holding on. He's been in hospice for over a month now. And he's really holding on. But when he passes, which is probably going to be very soon, I hope he gets all the accolades and tributes that he deserves because, again, not the greatest. He's not going to go down in history books as the greatest president, but what an extraordinary human being. So, you just go down the list of all the humanitarian things he's done throughout the years. So, but anyway, we're not a political stream, so that's about as political as I'm going to get. Texas would be a no for Perry. I don't know. I mean, look, I'd go Arizona, somewhere that isn't the state of California, which is just so financially oppressive. Especially L.A. County. Could I force Perry to watch one of his recent streams so he can understand what he's doing wrong with filming? I've tried that. It doesn't really stick. I've tried that. The "I'm dying" sounds so sad. Yeah, the way the TTS lady says, "Perry, I'm dying," or like whatever. It's Tom Sizemore. I'm dying. I do like that. I like Arizona personally. I would live in Arizona. Like that, I don't know if I'd live in Arizona, to be honest with you. I'd have to have a really nice pool to live in Arizona because I like to be coastal. I don't want to live in the Midwest. I need to be, like, my short list is, I don't want to go anywhere further north than where I am now, which is New York, obviously. I would live in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, California, Southern California, below LA County, nothing LA County or above. And there's a couple other places I would consider. Did I know that voice is supposed to be a little boy? I didn't know that, but that makes sense. Yeah, Arizona is hot. I've been to Arizona many times, and it is hot AF for sure. You got to have good air conditioning. No, no Maine, nothing north of where I am. Absolutely no Boston, no Maine, no Connecticut. No, I'm done with these winters. Even though this winter was very mild here, I'm done. I'm done with the cold. I don't want it anymore. So no, south or west coast for me. But yeah, I know Garrett, you're an Orlando guy, but I don't know. I would seriously, Scott, who I'll always say is the godfather of PCL. He was looking at real estate in Orlando last year, and I don't know. I like Orlando. I like the idea of Orlando, and I know it is swampy and all that. And I know you got issues with hurricanes and the humidity and stuff like that. But man, it's just, you could just get so much more for your money down there than you can here or California. Although there's pockets in California. Come to Cincinnati. Yeah, as much as I want to visit Ohio. I definitely don't want to live there. Orlando is complete ass. Nothing of value, no culture, no fun. Yeah, that's the thing. I know there's no culture. You kind of give up on that at a certain age. I feel like I've had all the culture I'm gonna get. I'm a little too old for culture. So I'm okay with strip malls and things like that. If I could just have a nice house, like the house I'm in now is okay, but it's just too small for our needs. And I'd eventually like a bigger place, where the property tax isn't murderous. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, by the way, I heard from a lot of people about their flow restrictors in the showers. People that didn't know about it and took them out. Good for you guys. I actually settled on a new shower head. I bought 3 different models. I'm going to try them out over the next couple of days, and maybe next week I'll let you know what I picked. But it's exciting. I was really getting really into that shower thing. Amy, I traded culture for a comfy house and a pool. I completely gave up culture. I think that's 100% what you have to do. If you're like in your 40s or older, I think that's the way to go. You trade culture for a nice house and a pool. That's it. That's what I want. I'm cultured out. I've lived in New York City. I lived for a brief time in Los Angeles. I've lived in cities. I've had a lot of culture. I've done the whole thing. And I'm over it. You know, I'd rather have a nice space. You can't have both unless you're a millionaire. So I'm cool with no culture, and you can have culture in your home. You know, you want culture, make your home cultural. So that's the way it is. Um, I live in Albuquerque, and people on the street come up to you for meth. I didn't. Is meth a real problem in Albuquerque? I haven't been to Albuquerque in a long time, but when I was in Albuquerque, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you can visit culture. Grimace says exactly. Visit culture, but have a nice place to live. Move to sunny Honolulu. I would live in Hawaii. It's a little too cut off from family and stuff, but I would live in Hawaii. Did I block Perry's Instagram, or did Perry f up? No, I just all I did was change the password. When it was on the stream last week, there was an Amy comment. OG Amy. I like to differentiate OG Amy, which is Amy underscore Liberante, from like a comment. You know, and by the way, shout out to anybody that writes in as Amy, but there's only one Amy, and it was one of the comments that was like, I've got your account. And I was like, you know what? Now's a good time as any. And I kind of had logged in there and I just changed the password. And so he could see the pop up on his screen that he was logged out. And it just kind of worked. And I'm just giving him a break from it for like maybe another week or so. And so we can clear out the garbage and maybe he can get back on and, you know, not be a complete nightmare talking to this fake person and that fake person. I have been monitoring it though. And it's amazing how many fake Scarletts and Ginas have shown up in the interim. So that was really, I think it was necessary. He really needed a break. It was getting sad. Like it was just getting like, not even like, I could see the funny in it, even though I am not as amused by it. Did he make a second account? He might have. I have no way of knowing that. He very well could have. But he needs a little break. Oh, by the way, shout out, I don't know who this is, Paul, who sent me $10 on Venmo, and it says, enjoy an extra ravioli with the old man. Cherish the time we have. Bless this community. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. And I will put that towards, that poutine ravioli. Yeah, and JP says live music venues are great, but concerts are way too expensive now to the point where living near music venues means nothing. I agree. That was another thing. Oh, Mr. Patsy, I thought so. Okay, thank you, Mr. Patsy. I really appreciate that. That's really sweet of you. I think at Il Molino that'll get us like 2 raviolis, but they're gonna be sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the whole thing with music venues. When I was going to see more live concerts, I'd agree with you. I want to live somewhere where like the band coming into town is going to be playing. I don't have that anymore because first of all, I don't really go to too many concerts anymore. Anybody that I like musically is either retired or dead or sucks now. They used to be good and now they suck, or dead or retired. There's very few. My friend got tickets to see Guns N' Roses this summer in, I don't know, friggin' MetLife Stadium, which is a pain in the ass to get to. But I'll do that and maybe a couple other things. But I might see The Cure, even though I'm not a Cure fan. But I have a lot of friends who are. Jim says, Perry's life is like Jasmine St. Clair, 500-man gangbang. Only all the guys have names like Scarlett Johansson underscore PCL and Gina underscore Carano underscore 102. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not a Cure fan, but I respect the shit out of The Cure. And they did go off on Ticketmaster, and they really wanted to keep their ticket prices down. One thing that they commanded, which I thought was really great, is that they did no dynamic pricing, no premium pricing where Ticketmaster will fluctuate the prices of the tickets. So they'll just be mostly ridiculously high. So they said none of that, and they tried to keep tickets down. But of course, it was still a disaster because you're dealing with Ticketmaster, and there's been so many bands that have tried to fight Ticketmaster. I remember Pearl Jam in like the early 90s were fighting against it, and they were trying to do their own ticket system. And it never works because Ticketmaster's got it all wrapped up, and you're kind of at their mercy. So it sucks. Do any of these fake celebrity girlfriends have any knowledge about Perry? Well, yes. I mean, there's three categories that we've come to, and if you're on Patreon, you know this because we've dealt with all three variants on the Perry phone calls. So category 1 are fans, you guys, not you guys specifically, but somebody who's, bored, creates a Scarlet account, talks to Perry, and goddamn, you put that lure in the water and you're going to get like the mother of all fish jumping into that boat of yours. Because Perry's just like, he's going to buy in anything. So there's that. And he's just going to do that. So that's number 1, the fans. Number 2 is like scammers, like legitimate scammers that are pretending to be celebrities. Their dream catch is somebody like Perry who falls for anything. So scammers, number 2, very prevalent. And then number 3, less common but still very common for Perry, are the people that just run like celebrity fan accounts, like a Scarlett Johansson fan. It could be a 15-year-old girl, it could be a guy, whatever, and all they do is post pictures. And you can tell these accounts, because these accounts have a decent following. They'll be like, in the thousands maybe. And Perry will write, those are the ones that Perry writes to them, and as if it's really Scarlett, like, Scarlett, I love you, we're going to be making love in my bedroom. And the person who owns the account will almost never respond, or if they do, it's just like a random, like, okay. So, yeah, Garrett says, Mike O'Hearn blocked our PCL account. That means he watched one of our videos about him. Oh, that's funny. You know who blocked PCL? Garrett told me? Jackie the Joke Man Martling has the PCL Twitter account blocked, which is crazy to me. P says, TomB, can you leave this stream up until morning? I was late tuning in. You know what? For you, yes, I will. I will leave this stream up until morning for you. But consider joining Patreon. You can watch it anytime. But I'll leave it up for you for a little while. I can't leave the Monday streams up too long, because once the YouTube checks, which takes a long time, go through, they start bombarding us with copyright stuff. I don't think tonight was that bad. There wasn't too many copyright stuff. There's a great episode of Pajama Pants where Perry explained to Jamie Lee Singler and how, oh my God, yeah, how she was asking to bring him to his high school reunion. The look on her face. Yeah, they, Rob and Jamie are starting a new podcast soon, and it'll be interesting to have Perry back on there. Perry was mentioned today on the H3 podcast. I think I have that clip. I think it was a little too inside baseball to show it on the main stream, but the H3 podcast, which I'm not familiar with, to be honest with you. I only know H3 just from people talking about it, but they were, of course, bringing up the Cartnarks thing. Let me see if I can pull it up here relatively quickly. It was a quick mention, but I think they were curious to have possibly have Perry come on H3. So let me see if I can pull this up. H3. Oh, yeah, here we go. I'm just going to play this for a second. I might have to resize it.
So many crazy people out there, and they're just walking amongst us. This man, he's like a magnet. What I don't get is you could just drive off. Just leave.
That man is on the road somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Right now. If he's not already died of a heart attack.
Yeah, that brain is behind a wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Motherfucking ass!
Sir, I was told. It said.
He's so angry. He's got a big-ass fanny pack,
Yeah,
too.
I was about to say, what's the utility bag he's got there?
He's just a weird guy. He's got all kinds of... he's up to all kinds of... That's a big-ass fanny pack.
It said. It said. Are you okay, sir? Are you okay,
He's
sir?
fearless.
The instructions said to leave.
That's true alpha
To leave you
right
the
there,
tip.
Dude, Cartnark is kind of the craziest of all of them. This man ate shit like hard.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even slow down. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't say. He just goes right back at him.
Fuck out of my
Sir, I was told to give it to you.
Get the fuck out of here!
Actually, I think this is a shirt of himself. That he looks like him with the hat and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I think this guy was a famous guy or something.
Yeah, that's Perry Caravello or something.
He's
like
famous.
That.
Yeah. So here, okay. So this was the guy who was a subject of a
there he is
fake
wearing the hat.
documentary.
Here we've combined both. He's got the Italian shirt and the hat. Do we think this guy's just a nut, or does that call into question?
He's a nut.
Okay.
He's a nut.
So it's not that these videos like Cartnart faked the videos. It's
I would never accuse him of that, and I don't think he did that.
okay.
It is interesting though
Hmm.
that he's run into the same guy twice. Maybe someone's tipping him off. Dude, this man has one of these things. What do you remember this shit?
My grandma.
Oh, the club.
The club.
The club, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
what
you
it was
can't
called?
Steal their car.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Those were like all the rage for a minute.
What's the guy's first name? I'm sorry.
Perry.
Perry.
Now, sir,
Get your fucking shit off my fucking car!
as soon as you take your cart.
Get the fuck out of here, motherfucker!
Jesus Christ!
Get the fuck out of here! I'll beat your fucking
Zoom in on
ass!
Sir, no, you won't.
XTC.
Look at yourself.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see like other people like discovering Perry or talking about Perry. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I know that's a huge podcast though. I'm not gonna speak ill of anybody that showcases Perry. So. But yeah, I don't know if they're like Rogan huge necessarily. But listen, Perry's got some big shout out. Yeah, he had a Rogan shout out a few weeks back. H3. There's been other things that have come up, so it's it's pretty interesting to see Perry being talked about. How often does Perry send his dick pic to people? I heard not so much recently, and I heard he sent it to you. I heard he sent you one. No, he sent me more than one over the years. I've seen quite a bit, and it's so. And the famous one is the first one he ever sent. I might have a screenshot of it somewhere, where he sent me his pic of his junk. I think the quote he wrote with it was like, "This is for you." And it took me a minute. It was like kind of early on in my texting with Perry, and I looked at that and I said, "Hey Perry, I think you sent that to the wrong person." And he just writes back, "Oops." That's no shame. That's the thing that I really am fascinated by Perry with, is he is completely bereft or shame. Garrett wants to know if he was hard or flaccid. It was flaccid. I've seen both variations though. But Perry is bereft of shame. He just has no shame switch. I'd be mortified to the person. I'd never talk to that person again. I'd have to I can never talk to you again. That's I'm embarrassed and I can't believe that happened, and yeah. Oops. Speaking of Perry's Pecker, will I ever release a fully uncensored waxing video? Well, Yagu Chan, money talks. You want your own personal copy of that? I can hook you up. Yeah, and then there's been other times where I've seen it by mistake, where I've just been looking at his direct messages, and I've seen him do it to other people. And I think he sent it to me maybe one other time by mistake. I don't know. I know I've seen it way too many times. The same pic he sent to Randy Gallagher. No. We're talking years apart there. But yes, I've seen that one too. Somebody says, "Who sends a limp dick pic?" I got news for you. Who sends a dick pic? Period. Don't do it. Don't do that. If you want to get hot and bothered with somebody, go for it. But don't send your junk. Women, it's different. I think women, if they want to send their whatevers to whatever, fine. I think guys do. I don't think women are looking for that. To be honest with you, at least the ones that I've spoken to. Just don't do it. And Perry's been better at it. He hasn't sent anything like that in a long time. But there was a period of time that one, geez, I don't know. Maybe it was that Randy Gallagher where he was just going hog wild. I mean, I remember going through those, and it was just it was not pleasant. Just like, ugh. But I think he's been more trained. I think people have goaded him into that. I think people have tried to get him to send him that, and he says no now, which is good. He, as annoying as it is that he constantly falls for these fake Scarletts and fake Ginas and fake whoever, there's a little bit of progress in that he's really not given over any financial information, where he's given his credit card or anything like that. So that's good. And he's not sending his junk out, but baby steps. Can we crowdsource Perry a hooker in Nevada? I mean, I want to get him. I want to get him laid in Pottstown. Forget about Nevada. This man needs to get laid. Let's be honest. He's going crazy. Yeah. So I don't know how to do those things. I've never facilitated that, but I don't know. Maybe Bob Levy knows something. In the industry. What we can do. I don't know, but I would like to get something going in Pottstown. What's Perry's credit score? That's a very good question. I don't know. I would assume it's decent at this point. It's probably okay. It's probably my own is just getting back to a level spot where my own credit, because of things that happened with Perry, because of things, when things got really bad, when I first had to kind of support Perry, my own credit took a really bad hit. And I was always decent with credit. Not great, but I was always pretty decent. Like I owned my own business, and I was okay. And then I'll tell you what, when that happened with Perry, it kind of was like, I was telling somebody else this recently, where it kind of forced me to grow up. Not that I wasn't a grown-up. I was a grown-up. I took care of myself and did this and that. But when the crisis of Perry losing his disability happened, it really forced me to be real. It forced me hardcore into adulthood, in serious adulting. And because, I was always just, taking care of myself, paying my own bills, and making sure I had enough of this or that, or, whatever. I was fairly comfortable. But when you reach a crisis point like that, it forces you to become a hardcore adult real fast. So, yeah. Hey, TomB, it's been a while, says Chong. Do I have any recommendations on HBO for documentaries? The last you got from me was Life of Crime. I that's probably the last one I watched on HBO. I haven't logged into anything like that in a while. I haven't watched any documentaries, except on YouTube. I'll come across a random YouTube documentary. I watched one on Paul Lynde recently. That was really interesting. No, I don't have any. I'll get back to you. I'll eventually. The past year has been kind of tough for me. And I hadn't been watching anything like that, entertainment wise. I haven't watched any movies, anything. I don't have any recommendations. No TV shows. So, but maybe other people in the chat can help you out. How does Perry get kicked off disability? Well, it's a long story that I've told before. but it's very possible. And keep in mind, anybody that's on these state disabilities, they're looking to get you off. And even and I've said this before, but even before Perry fully lost his disability, they were trying to get him off. They were constantly sending him things about looking for work, and he was having to go in and basically it was almost like unemployment, where they're like, have you looked for work? Have you done this or that? So yeah. Amy, do I still watch Red Bar? No, I haven't, but for no reason really, other than the fact that when they took that much time off, I kind of got used to not listen to it necessarily. I never really watched Red Bar. I was always just a listener. And I got away from it. And I tried to listen when they came back, and I just felt very distant from it. Like the people that they were talking about and covering. Not to say that I might get back into it again. I could very well get back into it. But that time, they took a year away, for medical reasons. And not to say that that was bad. It just I didn't have the same gusto for it when they came back, and also like even the people that they targeted, I didn't really care. Like not care is not the right word. I don't know. I just didn't like the whole like hate cast element of it. It was just it was not doing it for me anymore. And not to say that I wouldn't listen to it again. I would if it's like the right thing, but I just I fell out of the rhythm. That's all I could say is I just fell out of the rhythm of it. So I'll never say I don't like it or anything like that. I do, and I enjoyed the time that I did listen to it quite a bit, but I just kind of fell out of the habit. And is Steel Toe a Red Bar fool? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But look, I respect the hell out of Red Bar. Their whole operation, their structure of their website, their studio setup, the cameras always look amazing. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the answer. I just kind of fell behind and fell out of it, especially everything that was going on with my mom and everything like that. I not to sound like a big pussy, I just didn't have that same bite, that edge to me that normally was there, and it just, I don't know. Amy, oh, you agree. I liked him going after the killers in the comedy world because he was the first to really do it, but I barely listened. Yeah, and I like when he went after certain people that stand-up comedy in general, how he would always champion that stand-up comedy was horrible and comedians were professional liars, and go after quote-unquote bad people. And, there were people that I enjoyed listening or enjoyed him covering people that I didn't like. But then when he'd go on to some obscure person, like even H3, I only know of H3 because of Red Bar. But I don't know any but him covering H3, I didn't care, and I didn't know. There were people that I just never cared about, but that he went after. And then there are people that I took great enjoyment that he went after. But again, I don't know. Do I get back into it at some point? I don't know. I listen to other things that are kind of just have taken its place in my life. Did I hear that Chris Chan was released from jail? Yeah, I heard that, but I'm not a Chris Chan guy. I'm not in that Chris Chan world, so I don't really care. Is there a Patreon version of the disability story or something else I would recommend new to Patreon? Topher, it's very early on, one of the very first After Hours, and I can't point directly to it. You'd have to go back 2 years. And I probably should keep more detailed notes on stuff that we discussed, but I went into the whole story of how Perry lost his disability, and it wasn't just a one-note thing where something happened and he lost it. He had a very big hacking issue, a scam, and it kind of led to basically Disability thought he was dead because he was having a direct deposit, and because he was hacked, the direct deposit had nowhere to go, and they eventually canceled the account. And it was all about him getting to reapply to get it back, and that whole odyssey. So I did talk about that, but it was a long time. I was in a King Cobra stream, and there's a Perry doing it. Yeah, there's a lot of crossovers between Cobes and Perry. There's a lot. I think there's a lot of fans that like both. I just watch YouTube Red Bar clips. Yeah, a lot of people do that with PCL. They watch PCL clips on YouTube and don't watch actual PCL, which is, I got to get a handle on the whole clips thing. I know a lot of people have offered to help us make a clips channel. I think it's time to make a separate PCL clips channel, because I don't see putting it on the actual channel, but maybe clips. Although Garrett's been doing a really good job with the YouTube what do they call it, shorts. If you see those, that's all Garrett. He does a great job with that. I was also thinking this too, when Perry does the gaming stream, do you put the gaming streams on the regular Perry Caravello live channel, or do you have to have a separate channel for the gaming? I don't know. Maybe it's a separate channel. His disability should be reinstated. Well, he wouldn't be able to be reinstated now, because now he makes too much money legitimately to qualify. So now since PCL started, he's not going to get disability back, because he makes money here. He makes a lot more here than he ever did on disability. So he's not going to do that. King Cobra addicted to running burritos. I don't know. Listen, I don't know how anybody watches King Cobra. I really don't. I tried to get into it. I have there's a friend that's a friend of PCL. That's a big helper of PCL that actually knew King Cobra. I forget his real name. Is it Josh? When he was younger, went to school with him, and then, like last year, kind of in the new year, there was going to be a thing where like Team PCL we're going to help him out with some infrastructure stuff. Like basically kind of what we do for Perry, but kind of outsource it to him, not us directly. But how we run the stream and everything like that, because he does things. He gives a lot of the milk away for free. He does things that people ask him in his chat that he should be getting paid for, in my opinion. I don't think a King Cobra like PCL like structure, Josh, would work where it's the same thing, but like a structure where he kind of maybe has his own TomB. Not necessarily piping in all the time, but kind of guiding him, or hey, here's an offer to do this. Yeah, I've been in contact. I've talked to his dad. I've talked to Josh on the phone. We've been on a conference call, with Scott, who is very big behind the scenes of PCL, and we were right there. We were gonna, he needed help with his YouTube channel because he had gotten demonetized years ago, and there's steps on how to get that back. But I'll tell you, he's so, you think Perry's out of control. I mean, he's just out of control with the drinking, and it was just too much. And there was an opportunity there to, I'm not saying I maybe down the line we could help him out. We did help him out with some things, behind the scenes. But as far as like being like a major part of that world, no, I don't see it. It's just too. He's a mess. I feel bad for him. He's just an absolute mess. And again, I kind of need to enjoy what I'm doing. As far as like this goes, like streaming, like I enjoy Perry. I genuinely like Perry. I get comedic value of Perry. I laugh at Perry's stuff. As much as you guys, and I love it. I love and I do get down on Perry, and I do get burnt out on PCL, often enough. But I could not take that same gusto and put it into something like King Cobra's, because I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. But God bless anybody that does. I just think he needs a lot of work that I am not willing to put in. And Perry is a full-time commitment, not necessarily job, but commitment, and I couldn't take on somebody else like that. But anyway, he does very well as far as just views go, but there's more that he could be doing for himself. They only get more brain damage from the booze. That's why this guy I know got Parkinson's and liver failure at 52. Jeez Louise, it turns your brain around. Yeah, can you imagine if Perry had an alcohol problem? Thank God he's actually anti-alcohol. I mean, he has a beer here and there, which is fine. But can you imagine if Perry was getting drunk at the same time? I mean, it could be interesting for one stream, but geez Louise, would that be a nightmare. They should move to Florida together, yeah. Well, he huffs cologne too? Is that what it... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've tuned in. Scott tried to get me into him hardcore last year. He's like, this is the next, we should think about, helping him out and doing this. And the more I watched, the more I was just like, ooh, this would be torture. I couldn't do it. He started smoking too. Josh started smoking. Like, I always think that's gross. I'm not a smoker. By the way, I know there's probably people out there that smoke, and, that's fine. You do you. I always find it weird to see like a smoker like on a stream, like indoors. I just feel like that's so weird to like smoke in your own home or your own studio or whatever. It's got to be so gross. Yeah, and I agree with this, that helping King Cobra with his current streams would be enabling his behavior. That's kind of what I got out of it, is he needs to make... Perry started smoking. Yes, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't there. Yeah. I was included to that. Yes. I think giving like Josh that kind of thing would be like enabling, and he needs to make wholesale changes. But whatever, his audience maybe likes him the way he is, and don't hate on Bob Levy like that. I gotta say, I come across, Levy on various streams now and again. Like, I tuned into their BS show a little bit today, just to see what was going on. And, man, it's like that lighten up one after the other. But, listen, those are people that are just, completely addicted. It's not for me. I luckily don't have any addictions. Andy Dick should be a guest on the stream. Yeah, I think the Andy Dick thing is said and done. I think that's kind of a big three trope, and I wouldn't want to go. Same thing with like a Neil Leeds or anybody like that. Anybody that was in that world, and also Andy Dick's way too unstable. Talk about unstable. Andy Dick's a freaking mess. Fred says, I always like that you try not to enable Perry's behavior. It's refreshing to see, and one of the things I think separates PCL from Cobes. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you enable, and again, Perry's bad behavior, I'm sure, is what you're talking about. You definitely don't want to do that. Do I know about any of Perry's medical issues? Yes. Yeah, so do most people. Do I know my brother Kevin hates Perry? Does Kevin Brennan hate Perry? I thought that he was kind of like, or doesn't really know who Perry is. Yes, Matt, I do have a Perry addiction, as do all of us. Jim says, I smoke and need to quit. I don't smoke. Not Jim PCL, another Jim. Yeah, you should quit, especially if you're. Look, I've said this before. If you're approaching 40, that's the red line. If you're a smoker, a regular smoker, not somebody who smokes. There are people that can smoke every once in a while with a drink. But if you're a heavy smoker, you smoke regularly. You got until about the age of 40 to quit, and your body can pretty much repair the damage you've done. If you go past 40 and you smoke into your 40s, you're playing with you're Russian roulette. You know, you're really pushing it. So quit. If you're under 40, consider quitting. But who am I to tell you how to live your life? If you enjoy smoking, fucking go for it. You're almost 40. Okay, you're right at the point. But you're good. You're considering quitting. So you quit. You walk away from it. Your body can mostly recover from the damage that you've done. Oh, Kevin gets pissed when Bob brings him up. Yeah, that's fine. I think Bob is a hardcore Perry fan at this point, and really enjoys Perry and enjoys PCL, and yeah, I could see him bring it up. But also Bob has said to me privately that he would never mix Perry with Kevin or that other guy, that Zumock guy. So yeah. At what age do you cut off your Instagram addiction? Well, that's a whole other ball of wax. This is about Josh Cobra. Trolls F with him too much. They got him fired from his job now, and he depends on trolls for his income. I like Cobra. He is oddly wholesome, but seriously needs help. That's too bad, man. That's going too far. Getting somebody fired. That really sucks. And I agree. He needs a lot of help. Big ups to you, Rick. I don't know anything about Chad Zumock except I like just hearing the name on like Kumia or Levy and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever heard of him before, like a few months ago. But I love how excited Bob gets about Perry. I really do. I think it's sweet. He legitimately is a Perry fan, and he has some sweet conversations with Perry where he really lifts Perry's spirits. And I think Bob's a real positive force. And I like when Bob and Perry do their little streams. I think it's a different pace, and I think Bob has a real interesting approach to dealing with Perry. Because look, he's a professional comedian. He's also dealt with whack packers from the Stern universe. He knows what he's doing. He's a really smart guy when it comes to that stuff. So I like their interactions quite a bit. It's one of the things I'm really happy about. One of the developments in the last X amount of months with PCL is that connection with Bob and Shuley. But definitely Perry has more of a connection with Bob specifically. And I enjoy that. Like when Perry's on his Out of the Coffin show, I think those work really well. And we were talking about doing a once a month thing with Bob and Perry, where it would be simulcast on our channel and the Shuley network. I just got to figure out logistically how that would work. Getting Perry on here or whatever. I mean, sorry, not Perry, getting Bob on here and Perry on there, and there not be any lag and it be real time, because they use a whole different setup than we do. They use StreamYard and we use OBS. WeeVG 46, and you quit smoking 10 years ago because you heard the same thing, that you can smoke. They used to say 30, but I think it's 40. If you quit by 40, you're good. So that's good. It's good that you quit. You're probably you're in the clear. That's good. Cobes was fired from a Wendy's job a half decade ago. Okay, I didn't realize it was that long ago. Perry is like a weird a whack packer. Yeah, he is. That's the thing that's fun about I don't know how many of you are coming to Pottstown, but High Pitch Eric, notorious Stern whack packer, is coming to Pottstown. I've met High Pitch a couple of times, and I just want to get a picture of High Pitch with Perry. Like those two in the same room is going to be interesting to me. Chad blamed Cumia for sending his hands. Yeah, didn't it all come out though that that whole thing was made up, that he got in a bar fight or something like that? I think that's really dangerous when you make up a story like that. Yeah, I don't think High Pitch Eric is on the bill. Like I don't think. I mean, they might bring him up on stage, but yeah, High Pitch is gonna be there. I don't think High Pitch knows who Perry is, and I think High Pitch hates Anthony Cumia because of his Stern, affiliation. So it should be very interesting. There's that famous call where High Pitch. This is, I don't know. You're going back 20 years now, maybe more. Where High Pitch called into the Opie and Anthony show. He didn't call into the show. He left a voicemail for them because he hated Opie and Anthony, of course, because they were enemies of Stern at the time. And he called in a bomb threat. He was like, "I'm gonna bomb your building," whatever he said. They played it on the air, and he got in serious trouble for it. I think Stern got him off the hook with somehow behind the scenes or whatever. But yeah, it should be funny. Whatever happened to Beetlejuice? I think Beetlejuice moved. Beetlejuice was in Jersey City for the longest time. He had that longtime manager, that guy Sean, who passed away, and then his brother, Sean's brother, looked after Beetlejuice for a while. But then Beetlejuice's family, like his mother and sister, moved to Georgia. And I think that kind of neutered him, and they would have him fly up to Stern every now and again. But I don't know. I've been out of the Stern universe now for, God, coming up on 8 years. Wow, about 8 years since I listened regularly. So I'm not up on it. I do a good. Yeah, I used to do High Pitch quite a bit to my friends. We'd be like, "This is Kelly Clarkson." Like, "Hi, it's High Pitch." It's not as good. I used to do a real dead on High Pitch. You're like, "Hi, Daddy." But I don't do it. I don't get to do it anymore. Anyway, yeah, I just I don't know what's going on with, like, is Beetlejuice even on the show anymore? I don't know. I stopped listening in 2015. Which is shocking to me that 2015 is 8 years ago. That is strange. 2015 still seems fairly recent when you say it. When you actually say the number 2015. I want a political Stuttering John versus Perry show. Oh my God, can you imagine that? Stuttering John. And here's the thing about Stuttering John. And I understand the whole thing, the Uncle Rico and his thing. Part of me feels bad for Stuttering John, even though he keeps doing it to himself. I almost feel bad for how bludgeoned John gets. Even though I get it that he's a complete fool and a moron and not a good person, and really has gone after people in a real devious way. But man, I mean, that guy has just been decimated. I mean, he did have a podcast, and I knew his podcast was really awful, because I remember listening when he just had an audio podcast. I was on board really early. I was just like his first couple of shows. And this is before anybody was goofing on him, and they were just awful. He was doing a podcast from his kitchen, and the sound was awful. It was just, everything was awful about it. And I just feel like there's different kinds of Johns. Like John, when he was on the Stern show, and I know he wasn't like really a part of the creative team there, but like he just seemed a little more together. John just seems like mentally ill at this point. Like he hit his head or something. Like it's just very strange. Just complete lack of self-awareness. And I mentioned about Perry having the being bereft of shame. It just seems like John is also completely no shame whatsoever. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, if he's going to come back and do another show or not. I don't get it. But he is a great target. Imagine if Stuttering John's apartment was full of broken artwork. Imagine if people sent him artwork. Alcohol. Okay, that could be it. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. I know John's total drunk, so that might, yeah. Because if you look at John clips like from years ago, and I met John years ago on more than one occasion, and you know, he wasn't like the brightest bulb, but he seemed somewhat with it. Like he knew. He had a radio show in New York that he'd follow Stern. Like he'd have his own show, and he'd talk on the mic more than you would want your average DJ, and he would take phone calls and stuff like that. Like I remember one time on the Stern show, Howard picked up a call and the guy was asleep on the phone, and he was snoring, and they kept going back to him, and he was still asleep, and he was just like a loud snore. Like you could tell the guy calling the Stern show is very difficult, and sometimes you'd wait forever. This guy was just sleeping, and then the show ended, and then John's show started. I don't know how many markets John's show was in, but it was definitely in New York. And John would pick up that call too. He would piggyback on that and was trying to wake the guy up. And the guy finally woke up on John's show. And I thought John handled that really well. He was pretty, he was okay. I thought he would have interviews sometimes. He was funny, and not like the greatest thing ever, but it was okay. It was listenable. So, but yeah. Okay, somebody says that he's been drinking beer like water for 50 years. That might do it. Yeah, it's too bad because I can't be alone. Other people must feel a little sorry for John with just the barrage of shit in every area. The guy goes on Twitter, boom, and I get it. He's annoying, and he puts his foot in his mouth, and he does it to himself. So. Shuley wants John on his network. Is that true? I mean, he should. He should do his own thing. I mean, he should. Everybody else is capitalizing on John stuff except John. But anyway, I've been on record. I think the Stern Show took a major hit when Stuttering John left the show. Not because he was a writer on the show, he wasn't, but he was a presence on the show where what he excelled at, what John was the greatest at, and this is for anybody that listened to Stern at that time, he was great at shit-talking other people and like throwing people under the bus. He didn't care. He gave no Fs, and he would go into the studio and tell Howard everything about, what was going on in the back office, or Gary did this, or... Gary's smoking again. He goes out for smoke breaks, or he would betray a confidence just to make it interesting radio. And he was really good. He was really good at that. He was a good shit stirrer. And that was never replaced. Like that, there was never a person to fill that void after he left. So yeah. Greg says the Stuttering John coverage is very tired at this point. Too many mouths feeding from the trough. You might be right on that, but it's still popular. I mean, those Stuttering John shows, not Stuttering John shows, but the shows that kind of shit talk Stuttering John, they still get a ton of views. People are still tuning in. So, I mean, there's an audience for it. But yeah, John would be a fool not to. Like, John should go to that live Uncle Rico show. Maybe on his way to Florida. I don't know. He should. I think he should capitalize on it. If he was smart, but obviously he's not. He's a mess. I get it. I think in my brain, I think of like Stuttering John from like 20 something years ago. And I'm not thinking of like modern era John, He was great at celebrity interviews. Yeah, he was great at celebrity interviews, but he didn't write his own questions. Howard, Fred, Jackie, or whoever else would write the questions for him. He's tried to do the Stuttering John celebrity interview thing in modern times, and it's been a disaster because he just doesn't have, he doesn't have the ability. And I think that's part of what made them great back in the day is the old school Stuttering John reviews is because he has no shame and he doesn't have that filter. He just will go up into anybody. And that was what was always great about him. Sean says, I hope Perry doesn't get raped in PA. I don't know where that. I hope he doesn't either. I was actually kind of thankful that there were no rape comments tonight about like, Perry, please come to Pottstown so I can rape you. Pottstown is the male rape capital of whatever. You can go on and on and on. Yeah, that's a good point, Pat. There's a clip of John at a mural of the Virgin Mary. That was in New Jersey. I remember that. I remember listening to that live on the air. There was this like news story of this woman who had like the image of Mary appear on her wall. It was like a weeping Mary, and John went there like live on remote, and it was just great. And Grimace, that's a very good quote. Stern said about John a long time ago that John doesn't understand what makes him funny, very similar to Perry. Right, you're right. Perry doesn't get what makes him entertaining. Perry doesn't understand what makes him funny. If you ask Perry what his ideal stream is, without this demoralization and the abuse and these people that keep bringing up things that happened in my negative past, and and Perry, if you ask Perry what his perfect version of a Perry Caravello live stream, nobody would tune in for that. Stuttering John was the head writer for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast. Wow, I've never heard of that roast. But yeah, I know. I actually listened to John's audiobook. I don't know why. But because I just was looking for like good behind the scenes Stern stuff, and there wasn't a lot in there, to be honest with you. But he reads the book, and I don't know. I don't know if like Shuli or like these Stuttering John detractor shows have picked up on his audiobook, but his audiobook is ripe for picking. There were so many quotes in there, like where he talks about his writing prowess or how big he was in the Jay Leno show and how he was in the writer's room, which is such nonsense. It's got to be nonsense. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe he was. But from everybody else that says John was not a writer, he was the announcer of the Tonight Show for some ungodly reason. And when that fell through, Jay kind of felt sorry for him, carried him over on the payroll to the Jay Leno show when it wasn't the Tonight Show anymore. And then when it came back as the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, he wasn't the announcer anymore, and he was just kind of sitting around. That's the kind of thing that I get from John. But I don't know. I wasn't there. Perry thinks he deserves to get paid for answering nice questions and eating food he'd eat anyway. Yeah, that's true. Oh, who are these podcasts is doing a deep dive on the audiobook? That's good, because the audiobook is great. I remember listening to it, and I'd be like, did he really just say that? And I think I was like listening to it like to goof on it in a way, and it came out at a time before the whole John boom really happened. But I had listened to his podcast, and it's just I would just listen. Like sometimes you listen to things that are like in a cringe way, like when you see a clip on YouTube of like a car crash or something like that. Like I would kind of just listen to his podcast just to hear how bad it was. Easy for you to say, right? It was the name of his book, yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I don't know. Shuli did a reaction to John on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, which is interesting. Oh, I remember when that show came out. I remember vividly. It was this time of year, 2002. It was like winter 2002, and that's where that was the beginning of the end of Stuttering John on the Stern Show. He went on that show, which Howard hated the fact that he went on the show. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here was like a British show that in the early 2000s, there was that reality show boom, and every network was trying to do like a marquee reality show, and that was, I think it was on ABC. And I'll tell you how long ago it was. Caitlyn Jenner was on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of There, and she wasn't Caitlyn at the time. I don't even know if I could say her old name, otherwise Twitch will end the stream for dead naming. But the person who was on the box of Wheaties in the 70s was on the show with them, but I think it was a couple other like weird celebrity, Melissa Rivers, Joan Rivers' daughter, was on the show. And anyway, it's basically and Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and who's passed away. But it was a horrible show, and you tune in. I guess some of it was live, and I don't know. You just watched them around a campfire or something, and it's just crazy. And anyway, so it ended, and then I remember John calling in, like right when he got off that show, and he was calling into the Stern show, like Howard was like, "Hey, welcome back, good, hey, you know what, good job," and Howard was like, "You're a loser, you're an idiot, I can't believe you took all this time off," and John was deflated, and he was still in LA. Anyway, Jay Leno had him on. Jay Leno had him on as a guest because he was on this show, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and that's when Jay took a shine to him for whatever reason. And then, offered him the job as the Tonight Show host, which is still unbelievable. Say what you want about John. Really. I mean, you can pick apart his podcast. You can watch how bizarre he looks on his horrible, whenever you tune into the Uncle Rico, they always got this freeze frame where he just looks like a disaster. Say what you will, but the man was, on his resume permanently, is he was the announcer for the Tonight Show. Now, obviously, the Tonight Show had lost its luster. It wasn't, the real Tonight Show. But still, he the goddamn host of the Tonight Show. Not the host, the voice of the Tonight Show. So, anyway, I remember that very well. And I remember the Get John's Job thing. And, yeah, I was bummed out when John left the Stern Show because the show wasn't the same. And I always hated Sal and Richard. I know people like Sal and Richard. I was never a Sal and Richard fan. But yeah. Anyway, are mobile streams ruined because of trolls? You mean Perry mobile streams? No, it's just we do them on occasion. It's just more ruined by how shitty his neighborhood is, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm all up for doing another mobile stream somewhere. I have ideas for mobile streams, but no, it's not trolls. It's just. I remember the last time, and I think it was during the day, and I forget how long ago this was, but Perry was just walking down, Reseda Boulevard, and there were just like people following him that looked like they were up to no good, like they could have stole his phone or something like that at a moment's notice. So yeah. Have I met any Stern guys other than Mark Hamill and Daniel Carver? Yeah, I've met everybody basically. I've met Howard, I've met Robin, I've met Fred. A long time ago. Loads of people. I've told this story. Mark Harris, I was very good friends with Mark Harris, oddly enough. I actually stayed at his Bel Air mansion, which was Martha Ray's mansion when I was in LA. He was very good to me. Not in that way. We weren't on those terms. I was very, very close to Mark Harris for a period of time. I met Richard Simmons. I'm trying to think of like peripherally Stern people. I've met High Pitch Eric, as I've said. Never met Beetlejuice. A number of probably people that aren't even coming to my brain, but yeah, a number of Stern people. Never met Eric the actor. No. Did Howard have a wig on? I don't know. I know people say Howard wears a wig. No, I mean the last time I met Howard was in the '90s. It wasn't anytime soon. Anytime recent. Did I take a milk bath? No, no, not with old Mark. No, I gotta say, Mark was a really Mark Harris was a really sweet guy. He was a total character. The guy you heard on the air on the Stern Show is exactly how he was in real life. He really believed his own BS, and that he was just one idea away from making it big. Did I see Bob's copy of the Testicle Tiger? I think so. I think I saw like a screen grab of it, but I haven't seen it I haven't seen it in person. But yeah, I did see talk of that. Is Mark Harris still alive? No, he passed away a while ago now. Mark's been gone for about... I think Mark's been gone for about 7 years, maybe longer. Mark passed away, unfortunately. To really very little fanfare. I don't think it was mentioned on the Stern Show, or if it was, it wasn't until much later. So, yeah, I found out from his daughter that he had passed. But we used to talk on the phone sometimes. It was great. I wish I had some of those calls like recorded. He was really funny. Funny, like not like ha funny, but like, you know, he was just a character, and I think he knew he was a character too. He was a total throwback guy. He would tell me all these great stories too about like Cesar Romero. He knew Cesar Romero because Cesar Romero was friends with Martha Ray, and he was married to Martha Ray, and he would have all these crazy Cesar Romero stories. Anyway, if I get going on Mark Harris, I'll be here all night. Remember Stuck on You, Stern, where the woman was handcuffed to Jeff the Drunk for 5 days? Yeah, I do remember that. Can you imagine that with Perry for 5 days? No. Oh my God. Oh my God, no. DJ. Stern Show is so much different now. That's what I hear. I don't listen. The Stern Show was unlistenable to me back 8 years ago when I stopped listening. I can only imagine how bad it is now. So no, I don't know. I'll be here all night regardless. No, I do got to go at some point. I do got to wrap up. I don't want to be here. I was actually going to play a Patreon thing, and then I don't know. I kind of lost track and got onto other topics. But yeah, I was trying to get my dad on tonight, but it just didn't work out. But it's his birthday this coming Sunday, so maybe he'll be in. Maybe he'll stay up late for us on next Monday. I don't know. No promises. Oh, by the way, there was a huge story this past week I wanted to mention because I have seen this happen where there's this YouTube channel, and I subscribe to it. I watch it. It's a huge YouTube channel. We're talking like in the millions of subscribers and views. So Linus's Tech Tips, if anybody knows that channel, LTT. It's like, you know, this guy Linus, he has an empire, and it's called Linus's Tech Tips. And the YouTube channel was hacked I think it was last Thursday or Wednesday, and the hackers took over their channel, deleted all their videos, and uploaded like this cryptocurrency live stream and links to this like fake cryptocurrency thing. And so the whole channel was taken down and hacked. And this has become a rampant thing with YouTubers specifically, and I see these emails all the time because they come into PCL, because it's big and small channels get this, where basically somebody purporting to be a potential sponsor will contact you. We're interested in sponsoring your stream. Here's some assets that you might want to look at, and they'll have something that's disguised as like a PDF file. Like, yeah, read over this documentation, and then you open the PDF, and it's not a PDF. It's not necessarily an exe file, but it's like something that hides itself. Anyway, what it does is it basically copies your whole computer, your system, and immediately sends it out to these scammers or whoever, and they're able to save all of your logins. So you can, like, let's say you can have two-factor authentication, which everybody has. In fact, you can't even, if you're on YouTube and you're a YouTube partner, you have to have two-factor authentication, which means, you have to go through all these things to log into your YouTube. But if you're already logged in, yeah, it's a screensaver. That's right. It's like a screensaver, and it's like this giant Trojan. And what they'll do is they'll be able to log in. They'll save all your web browser login. So when they on their end, it'll be like they're on your personal computer and they're already logged in, and they'll quickly log in. They'll delete all your videos. They'll change the name of your channel. And then they'll start uploading this cryptocurrency stuff and whatever. And it could take a long time for it to get resolved. Now, a big channel like Linus's Tech Tips, they have a YouTube rep that they probably contacted right away. And I think this whole thing lasted a few hours, and then the channel was taken down. And now everything's back to normal. All their videos are restored with all the original data and algorithms and their view counts and everything. It's like it never happened. But if you're a small channel, if that ever happened to us, we would be screwed because we have no YouTube rep. How do you get a hold of YouTube? Maybe on Twitter or something like that. But it's really bad. It's a really rampant thing, and I notice more and more people. This has become a rampant thing. Like if I look at the email account now, I'll see things, and they're very suspicious. They're just they don't even mention hey, Perry Caravello live. It'll be like, hi, we would like to sponsor your channel. They don't mention any details, and it's like, man alive. That is that's insane. So I just I can always imagine something like that happening to us, and we'd be screwed. We'd be really screwed. So it's just frightening that can happen. So it's a screensaver that allows a mid-privileges, steals your cookies, bypassing passwords, and two-factor authentication. That's it. That's basically it. You're right. Yeah. But it's happened to more than one high-profile channel, and apparently it happens to a lot of low-profile channels where it's people that are more vulnerable, So I found that really weird that it's Linus's Tech Tips, and they're actually susceptible to that. Obviously, it wasn't Linus himself; it was an employee. Somebody that works for them, or like an editor, or somebody that had access to that. So yeah, Grillis, I think I would die without my two PCL fix. So don't worry, I'm not falling for those. Hopefully, knock on wood. I don't plan on falling for any of those scams. Can you imagine though, people all the time, especially new people that come into PCL, they don't quite get it. What's going on here? Who is this guy? Is he just getting picked on or whatever? Or they'll write to Perry oh, hey, Perry. As if Perry runs his own stuff. As if Perry runs the... Can you imagine if Perry had the keys to PCL? Whether he had the login for Twitch or, YouTube. He would have shut it down. Delete. I'm deleting the whole channel. I'm sick of the abuse. I'm sick of the demoralization. Could you imagine? Thank God he has a team of people that control these things. And I want to shout out Mark once again. I know we talked about him on the mainstream, but Perry's cousin Mark is going through some rough times right now, health-wise, and could use all the positive thoughts we can get. And if I talk about Mark on the stream, please know that I'm not just talking about him as Perry's cousin. He's a good guy. He's very instrumental to how PCL operates. He's been Perry's accountant for a while. He handles all of Perry's finances, makes sure things go in this account. He's been very good with that. and he's very fair with me. If I say to him, hey Mark, this has to be taken out from here. We have an expense here that I'd prefer this tape be taken out of this or whatever. And shockingly, unlike other people in his family Perry's family that would just have his hand out. And by the way, Mark did invest a lot into Perry at a time where it was hard to keep Perry afloat, and he did help me with that, and he did get paid back out of PCL funds, and I thought that was very fair. But he didn't get like greedy and be like, oh, I'm taking, he doesn't even take a salary for handling Perry's finances, for doing Perry's accounting for him, and make sure Perry's taxes are in line and Perry's doing the right thing, and Perry has this or that, or this is set up for, we call it Perry's retirement fund, but whatever you want to call it. And he's been very good, and so now he's going through a rough time health wise, and it would just be me personally, I would be lost without him, because I don't know who I could get to replace him, what he does, and I don't think he could be replaced. So anyway, if you're religious and you pray, say a nice prayer for Mark, or just have a good thought for him, because he's one of the good guys on our side, and of course Perry was a total pain in the ass, where Perry got this news about his cousin and starts calling everybody, including me. Mind you, I already knew, but he's calling, and of course Soviet Goat will appreciate this. Robin, who was Mark's ex-girlfriend, who is Perry's friend, aka Grandma Robin chewed Perry out yesterday, saying, hey Perry, shut the F up about what's going on with Mark. He's texting this person and calling this person, and then he's calling this person like, oh, I'm so upset. But Perry has a way of making everything about himself when somebody's in bad shape, and I know this firsthand. So Robin basically laid into him and say, you know what? You're a real selfish asshole sometimes. You make everything about you. This isn't about you. Shut the F up about Mark. Don't bother Mark. When Mark's ready, he'll communicate with you, but leave him the hell alone, and stop telling everybody in your Rolodex about what's going on. It's nobody's business. And, I was kind of like, Perry called me about this, and he was like, Robin just got in my face and was acting like a real bitch, and she was saying this and that. And I was like, and I was like, well, Perry, she has a point. But, I didn't articulate this to Perry, but I was like, you know what, Robin? Good for you, Robin. Good for you. Good for you. Calling him out on his bullshit. Good for you. Because, fuck, come on. I've been in that position, too. So... anyway, it's all about Perry, right? That's where we are. Have I ever interacted with Kenny? Yes. Very minimal. But Kenny is a legit bad person. Like, Kenny is selfish to the core. Again, I don't want to speak out of school about, complete strange, even though they're not strangers, but they are. Kenny's a nightmare. Kenny, his own kids can't stand him. He's been a shit to his own children, which I find, I don't know, unthinkable, really. And he was a shit to Perry. Yeah, when Perry was first going through his problems, and Kenny offered very little assistance, and I've said it before, like Kenny was just like, Perry can stay with me if he needs to for a few months, but then he's on his own. Mr. Mr. Warmth. Kenny. So yeah, very little. I spoke to him a couple of times, and I kind of sort of spoke to him via three-way call over the summer when that whole thing with the land broke through. But I didn't really get much of a word in because Perry and Kenny were screaming so much. So someone needs to remind Perry of how big of a jerk he could be from time to time. Well, yeah. Does Perry affect my dating life? Well, yeah, he did in the past when I was dating. He always took precedence over relationships I've had. And I've talked about this before. Like, I'd be out with a girlfriend that I was dating, and Perry would call, and I would have to, we'd be, let's say we're in a bar or a restaurant, and I would have to be like, I have to take this call. I have to run out and take this call. And sometimes to the detriment of the relationship, it would because it'd be like, you're choosing Perry over me, kind of thing. Not just Perry, but the overall like big three thing at the time. It was very all encompassing. Not that it's not now, but it's just different now. But yeah, Perry definitely affected the dating life, and I always managed to be with women that didn't necessarily get the whole Perry thing. They weren't that into it. Does Perry really think Kenny has a stream? Well, your guess is as good as mine. He doesn't necessarily bring it up outside of the stream. And I'm also not someone that's gonna foster things like that in our downtime. I'll just be like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna talk it down, or I'm not gonna talk it up at the same time. Kenny wasn't happy about not letting him finish your 4 on his HBO on my HBO account. Yeah, I know. Christopher says, "Am I in an empty room? I appreciate you, but the echo bothers me when I'm in a bad mood. I assume it's a small room with not much in it. Put egg cartons on the wall." I've explained this before. I'll explain it again. The room that I broadcast from and do PCL from is not intended to be an office or a studio of any kind. I've been in this room since I've been in this house, which is going on 2 years come June. And it's just been a temporary space. The room I'm in was supposed to be a family media room that just never came to fruition for various factors. Just life, finances, and I don't expect to be in this room. In fact, very soon I'm moving into a different room that's going to be more soundproof, even just for my other job. I need it for it, so the sound will be a lot better in let's say a few months from now. But yeah, the room's not empty. It's actually full of crap. It's got boxes and stuff. It's a disaster. But anyway, the room. I had high ambitions for this room. I think I showed it once when it was like all exposed and it was like open because it was like half demoed, and then I finally got it finished. But it's been a very slow crawl to the finish line of what this room was supposed to be, which was supposed to be like a media room. Like, a big screen TV, speakers, surround sound, like a nice couch, kind of like a room to kind of chill out and like watch TV, watch a movie. But I kind of put my desk in here because I have no other place in the house to have an office. But I am doing something where I am going to go into a different spot to do these things, and it's going to be soundproof, and I understand it probably sounds like crap, and I apologize for that. Soviet Goat came back on. You can't sleep. I did tell a decent Robin story that you might want to rewind and catch. I thought you were still around, but yeah. I could solve the problem if I moved in with Perry. That's true. And DJ says Tom's dad is an American hero. That is true also. Yes, he is. He's got a lot of good stories. I could do a podcast with just me and my dad, and they'd be great stories. Maybe one day. Get a camera on Perry's bed so we can keep up with the latest updates. Yeah, I know. Gunzo, Tom, your After Hours is great. Thank you. Does Perry ever listen? No, Perry never listens. Perry never listens to After Hours. You know, you would think if Perry was like really, you know, on top of things, you know, because he knows I do After Hours on Mondays, not every Monday. I've been doing them consistently for a while, but there's going to be some times where the stream ends and I just sign off because I got to be up early the next day, whatever the case. Yeah, Robin, Sovietco, Robin kind of went off on Perry yesterday, like really laid into him and called him a selfish a-hole because he was he was I don't want to say bragging, but he was telling the whole world about what was going on with his cousin Mark. And then he was like, "Oh, Mark, you know, because Perry likes to act like the widow. You know, I'm going through a lot. You know, Tom's mom is sick, so it's affecting me. Or my friend John D's dad, and now he's using it with his cousin, which I think it's annoying, but it's how Perry is. And anyway, Robin really called him out on his bullshit and called him a selfish a-hole and told him to shut the f up. So I figured you'd appreciate that. But anyway. There's just I don't what the fuck was I just talking about? I forget what I was talking. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I was talking about something about After Hours, but I think I finished the thought. But yeah, sometimes I'm not going to do After Hours, but you know, I enjoy it. Anyway, yeah, I've been in this friggin' room for way too long, and things need to change. Because again, it's like the house I'm in is not that big, and we need this room for like, you know, extra things, you know, and it's just been, again, like it's one of those things where you can always learn in life or grow up to a point where you thought you knew everything, and you still have a lot of growing up to do. And when we got this house and I looked at this room, I was like, oh, we're gonna turn this into a media room. That'd be great. And we'll do this and that, and you know it'll be easy, and you'll get this kind of thing, and I'll get speakers in the ceiling, and boy, and then you just don't think about how much these things actually cost, and then you know in your head you have it one way, and in reality it's another way. So yeah, it's just a lot of it's just I just don't have the money to finish the room. That's really what it is, and also a lot of the passion that I had for this room. When I first started, I was like, oh, I have these really great speakers that I've had for a while. I can finally showcase them, or I'm going to watch movies in here. And the past year was kind of tough on me with everything with my mom, and it kind of just robbed me. This sounds weird to say, but the past year kind of robbed me of all my passions. And that sounds depressing, but it's kind of true. Like I don't listen to music, and I don't watch movies, and I don't do any of the things that this room was intended for. And I just got to get back to that, you know. That's what it is. It's a terrible thing to kind of lose focus on your passions. And yeah, and I can complain about how, you know, I don't have the money to finish this room the way I wanted to, and all that, but it really comes down to I put it off because the fire went out in me. When I first moved into this house, I had all these ideas and blueprinted out in my brain that I couldn't wait to facilitate. And yeah, there was hiccups financially where shit, this is more expensive than I thought. But also I just I don't know. The passions that I had like a year ago are not with me now, and I'm hoping they come back. Like even baseball, like baseball season starting this week, and I have to say I kind of don't care. I want to care and I want to get into it, but I don't. I take no. Not. I don't mean to say that I'm depressed. At least I don't think I'm depressed, but I just lack the passions that I had, my interests. You know, like the things that I enjoyed, I don't. Not that I don't like them. I just don't take. They're just not. They're not that fire in me. You know what I mean? Like when you have a passion for something, when you really like something or enjoy something, you kind of want to swim in it and enjoy it. And that's why, and I say, I haven't watched any TV, haven't watched any movies, and I just, I don't know. I'm hoping they come back because it's been a rough year. And, once maybe the weather starts warming up, I'll get back into the swing of things, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I got to find new hobbies. Find something else to get into. But yeah, I don't have any things right now that kind of pique my fancy, for lack of a better words. Christopher says, "You don't want to see my basement, Tom. Nobody's perfect." Yeah, I know. I would be mortified if you guys could see the room I'm in right now. Just how disorganized and shit everywhere. It's not quite as bad as Perry's, but it's not filthy. But there's just like boxes I gotta get rid of, like stuff. Like I don't know. I have a whole tub, like a Tupperware tub, a giant Tupperware tub, like storage tub of HDMI cables. Do I need that many HDMI cables? It's kind of like Perry hanging on to his car detailing equipment. Do I need that? I don't think I do. Get a house with an in-law apartment. And I'm going to pass on that. Where's the Rick and Morty review, by the way? It's coming. Perry's doing it. I gotta say, so if you don't know what we're talking about, I guess Perry was paid to watch the first season of Rick and Morty and then review it for Patreon. And Jim pitched that to me, like, I don't know, sometime in January, where like things with my mom were really difficult. It was just a bad time to pitch a Perry thing, but I think he was hustling to get some Perry content because we were off for a while. But I will get that facilitated and finished, the Rick and Morty thing. I know people have been asking me about that. Sovico says, it'll come back, meaning passions. I was like that for a while after a major issue in my life. You'll find one new thing that'll spark your interest and your passion for other things will come back. PCL did it for you. That's great. And I'm back to feeling good and liking stuff again. Yeah, I really hope that's the case. I really do, because I don't want to use the word depressed, but I can't explain it. I'm not a miserable person. It's just the fire in me kind of went out on the things that I enjoyed in life. Like I was buying some like used. I remember around this time last year, I bought this used like audio equipment, and I thought I got a really good deal. I was really excited to set it up, and it's still sitting in the same box that it arrived in. A year later, and because I just don't, not that I don't care, but it's just there's so many other things that I have to do to make it work, and and maybe that gets back to like why I don't listen to Red Bar anymore, because I was into that, and then they took a time off, and you kind of just lose the fire. Like I said, like if PCL took a year off, would you guys still be into it if he came back a year later? I don't think so. I mean, at least not the same thing. Yeah, from Europe. That's right. It was from Germany, and I'll look forward to setting it up eventually. Fake Tracy. Wow, that's going back. I'll look forward to setting this room up eventually, and it'll be great. It will be when it's all done. It'll be cool. I was so passionate about it for so long that I just, I have this really great barbecue in the backyard. This barbecue that was like crazy expensive for a barbecue, but I had that crazy back when there was like a boom with stocks where it was like GameStop and AMC were two big stocks, and I held on to AMC, and right around TomB week I cashed out, and I made a very good profit on that stock. And whenever I made a profit on stocks, I would always buy something nice. I was never like investing it smartly, but I treated myself to a really fancy barbecue grill, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna grill every day, and I'm gonna cook like vegetables and shit, and that barbecue has been, I mean, I did whip it out a couple of times last summer when like my parents came over, but that thing is just wrapped up in its cover, and I don't use it at all. And I remember being so excited when I first got it. So yeah. Somebody else says, I know the feeling. It's what the pandemic did to you. Yeah, I've heard that before from other people. Like the pandemic kind of like took the wind out of people's sails. So I don't know. you know, I kind of dive. Oh, you hit big on AMC? Yeah, I remember it was TomB Week Volume 1 that day where the stock really hit. And I didn't cash out that day. I should have. I cashed out the next morning, I believe, if memory serves. And yeah, I made a good amount of money on that. And yeah, I got this fancy like couple of $1,000 a barbecue. Because I had a backyard for the first time, and I wanted a really nice barbecue. I've had shitty barbecue, so I was like, you know what? With this money, I'm going to treat myself to a nice barbecue, and I did. And I just haven't really used it again. Also, that's a nice thing to say, Soviet Goat, that you started laughing again with PCL, and the community is so creative. Yeah, I think that's what makes PCL special, is the community is so creative and full of good people. But maybe burnt out with the interest. If so, maybe a small break could help. Yeah, I think that's it. I think maybe a break from things. I don't know. And sometimes I just kind of dive into like work or, do other... and I am busy with work. Now, I don't mean PCL. I mean like what my actual job is, and then which is flexible, thank God. And then PCL, and then, now that the dust has settled, from my mom passing away, not that it's ever like that far in the rearview mirror. It hits me hard all the time. It really does. And I think I just gotta maybe find some new hobbies or get some new passions or discover something new or something to get me excited. Because I do kind of walk around like, and I think that's what's really great about having a kid, having like Teddy. Teddy's so excited about so many different things, and I kind of like leech off of his excitement. Like I like making him happy, and like I kind of borrow his excitement for things, but I don't have any excitement of my own necessarily. Like I'll veg out and I'll just like zonk out to some YouTube videos, but it's nothing that I'm really into. It's nothing that I'm just like, oh, I'm really into this. Like I got a little bit into watching YouTube, like people playing like vintage video games, because I've always been looking for like a way to like have all these systems in one thing, like old school Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis 64, blah 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 blah. So I was getting into like watching YouTube videos of these like mini PCs that people make, where they're just turned into like these high end emulators. So I was kind of like hobbyish into that, like, oh okay, maybe I'll buy one of those and get into that eventually. But it's still, I'm more into like watching the videos and actually like thinking about getting one. Chris says, I spent $200 on a barbecue last year. It was half price, end of season at Walmart. It replaced a rust bucket. The luxury barbecue market is a scam, in my opinion. I disagree with that. The grill I have is phenomenal. It really is. It was expensive, but for what it does, it has an infrared sear station, which is great. And again, I'll probably get into it again. And that's the thing too. I haven't been cooking. I cook sporadically, but not as much as I should. Anyway, I'm bad. I'm in the weeds now. I'm in the lack of passion weeds. PCL chat is like any other. What other chat can you tell the streamer, go blow dudes, and it's totally okay? Yeah, I know. Grill, you got into fixing old consoles. That's cool. I finally got this HDMI N64 digital chip that I can install in the Nintendo 64 I have had for over a year. And I'm going to probably get that. The kind of grill I have is the Napoleon is the brand. The exact model number escapes me right now, but it's a Napoleon something. And it's really cool. When is the pool party? I hope it's soon. If I ever get money, there's a stand-up game with every game out. Yeah, you know what it is? I don't have room. I bought one of those stupid one-up machines during the pandemic, and I kind of regret it because it's just, I'm kind of bored with it. I don't want a stand-up machine. If I had the space for like a proper game room, I would definitely do one of those stand-up machines. that's like, vintage arcade with everything on it. But you know what? I'll be happy with just something I could play on the TV that emulates arcade and early systems up until, I think they go up until like about PS3. And that's where and that's fine for me. That's more than enough. But yeah, maybe something like that. I don't even know if that's like the thing that's going to light my fire. PCL is legit the best online community. I agree with you, DJ. Yeah, I'm passionate about PCL. I am. That if I have to list a thing, but I don't know. I want to like find something other than PCL that I can enjoy and like laugh at and like have something that I find funny. And because there's a lot of depressing things that happened over the past year, like Norm Macdonald dying, who was like my favorite guy ever, and then Gilbert Gottfried dying, which is almost a year ago now. That took a lot out of me because I really enjoyed listening to his podcast, and even though he never changed his act, I still saw him live a bunch of times. So I don't know. What could I say? I live in Ottawa and I can't barbecue half the year. Let's be honest. Yeah, I know. See, when I got this grill too, I said I'm gonna barbecue even in winter. And the thing is, like, my backyard gets very dark. Like I have terrible lighting in the backyard, kind of like Perry's patio apparently. And I keep saying like, oh, I got to put lights out here, but I can't do it. One of these days, as the weather gets warmer, I might get into it. Norm Macdonald dying was a national tragedy. I agree with that. I still can't believe it. And you know what I got to do? I have a bunch of like Norm recordings that I personally recorded when I went to see Norm live, like just for myself. And they sound pretty good. Like I used like a digital recorder. I should probably upload those. Like I saw him at Caroline's a bunch of times, and I have one recording of him from like somewhere I think it was in Anaheim in like the late 90s. That's a great set. And I don't think they've ever been anywhere because I've never shared them. I've maybe shared them with a couple of people, but I should probably upload those now that he's passed. Soviet Code, nothing makes me laugh like PCL. I laugh at other stuff, but not a deep gut like PCL. That's great to hear. It's almost carne asada weather. That's true. I should check out other lolcows of the internet like Sirix. I think you'd like Music Bid, Marty. Like I said last week, I really hate that term lolcow. I think it's stupid. And I think the kind of personality that gravitates to that whole lolcow thing, I kind of want to avoid in the PCL community. I know it's inevitable. I know there's a lot of them that are part of PCL, but the people that enjoy like the whole lolcow thing, whatever the fuck that means, I don't know. It's a red flag to me when I see the word. I'm not a fan. When you go to Shuli's show, will we get a Monday? When you go to Shuli's show, will we get a Monday show? No, not that Monday after the Pottstown show, because Perry's doing Anthony Cumia that Monday and also Chrissy Moore on Compound. I think I still got to confirm that with Cumia's producer, but no, there's not going to be a Monday stream. Fat Chatty Daddy, Tom, you are a very giving guy. Well, thank you for saying that. Based on your charitable work with Perry, I know you are a saint. I don't know about that. I'm not a saint. I find when I'm down, if I'm able to give back by doing acts of service to others, my spirits get lifted. Yeah, look, I feel like that too. I feel like it goes back to what I was saying about tipping generously. Giving back to other people is good, especially people that call you the C word and tell you to go F yourself every 2 seconds. Perry's not a lolcow, says Soviet Code. I watch lolcows, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't like that moniker used with Perry. He doesn't fit into that. But I'm not in that community. I'm not in that sphere. No Friday show before either. Yeah, I don't know. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. If I can find a way to stream on Friday from wherever we are, I will try my best to do that. Maybe pop on, maybe do something. I I don't know. I would like to do some kind of New York City meetup when we're in New York City with Perry, for Compound. So I'll try to put something together. Like, hey, just meet us here. Like, we'll go for drinks somewhere. I think that could be cool. We're not gonna do like a live show in New York, but Perry's in New York. If there's like people local to New York that want to hang out, I think that would be cool. Is Garrett going to be documenting the whole trip? I hope so. Cool Bane says, a sad thing happened today. Nintendo 3DS and Wii U eShops closed last week. Yeah, I know. That's such bullshit. And you know what? That's why Nintendo really... The problem with Nintendo, and I won't go on a Nintendo rant, but Nintendo is really run by old men in Japan, the old guard, and really Nintendo of North America should really be running things, because Nintendo is so far behind on everything, in terms of like even like what can be posted on YouTube and their relationship with modern gamers or their legacy stuff, and that's why just hack your my Wii U is hacked to crap. I have the entire Wii U shop on there, but it's all bootleg. Why would they take it away? They're just going to force you into the black market and pirate games. They don't want you to pirate games, but they force you to. Nintendo does. They close this, they close down Wii, and and all these things that have been, I don't know, that should have been brought over to the Switch maybe. But yeah, I saw that the Wii U, you can no longer buy stuff on the Wii U. So whatever, pirate it. It's very easy. There's tons of tutorials on how to hack your and hot rod your Wii U and just put everything on it you could possibly imagine. And screw them. They're making it impossible. Gunther says, TomB, it sounds crazy, but there are Mondays where I watch the whole stream and can't stop. He is that absurd. Well, I appreciate that. If you can hang in the entire stream, you are a top tier fan. Top tier. Wavy, I recently joined the PCL Discord and learned the term lolcow. I'm just here for Perry. Yeah, that's the kind of fan I want. That's the kind of person I want on PCL. I really don't want the lolcow people. I don't even know what it is. I really don't even know the term. I just know when I look at the term, I frown and I'm like, okay. Because it's a certain type of people that are into that thing. And no offense if you're into the thing. No offense if you're into that culture. It's just not my ideal PCL person. My ideal PCL person is homegrown PCL that just enjoys what we do and Perry's nonsense. I missed out on the Wii. I just want to play the first-party Nintendo games. Apparently, on these mini PCs that emulate games, they're very good at emulating the Wii, including like with the sensor bar and everything and motion control. Lolcow equals Chris Chan. Yeah, I missed out on the whole Chris Chan thing. I was never into that. I never got into Chris Chan or whatever. I just never bothered with it. But I see it, and it's like it's code word for certain types of mentalities. I listen to the stream at work. How does that work? Like, I know a lot of people just listen to the stream. Sega Dreamcast was the first time I saw a corporation I thought was about to implode. Dreamcast failed second year into the console life. Yeah, the Dreamcast went above my head. I never got into Dreamcast, but I'd like to play some Dreamcast now. That's why I kind of want an all-in-one system that just plays everything. I have a Switch. I'm cool. I'm good with that. And I'm not even the biggest gamer. I know it sounds like I talk about it a lot, but I'm really not a big gamer. At least the traditional games. I like fun, in and out, the Nintendo games. Somebody's saying, the prices of Nintendo games are too high. I think they're pretty fair, to be honest. I know that new Zelda game is like, they're pushing the boundaries there. I think they're charging like $69 when games are normally $59. I won't buy it because I haven't even played the other Zelda game that's out, so I probably wouldn't even get to that for years from now, so I'll just wait for it's on sale maybe, but yeah. So we go, most people who have come over from legit locales don't treat Perry like a locale. They get the difference. The people that come over and don't get it are the ones who want him homeless. Yeah, that's the kind of people I like to avoid. Like really angry, bitter, like, you know, people that, you know the type I'm talking about. I would like to ban the word locale from PCL. Once we get Perry to do some Wii games, I'd be hyped to see him play some Wii Sports. Yeah, he has like whatever the Wii Sports on Switch is, he has that. There is a sale going on. I got to see if there's any new. I did buy a ton of games for his Switch already. I don't want to spend any more money on building up his Switch until we figure out how he's going to be with them, because, you know, if it's a disaster, you know. The main reason why Perry isn't a locale is because he has you, TomB. That's sweet of you to say. Perry's saying that he was going to be raped in Pottstown had me laughing. I was in pain. Yeah, I did get, you know, it's funny. On Friday, we went earpiece-less, which I thought was a bad thing because he was so nasty. And then we did it again today, where I'm just past couple of weeks, I haven't been giving him any direction whatsoever. Like nothing. Like not even like move up or anything like that. And it's just what you hear on the stream. And tonight, you know, I'm still getting used to it. Like not, you know, I'm not saying I might not go back to it for certain cases because, you know, I muted him tonight because he was getting a little crazy. And I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't say the wrong thing. So I muted him because he was being annoying, but also because, crap, I hope he doesn't go crazy. I do have a PCL kill switch. If the stream ever goes down completely randomly in the middle of Perry ranting, it's because Perry said something bad, and I can just kill the stream. And it's like in front of me, it's in big red, and it just says kill. And I always live in fear of, because I have this thing called Stream Deck, which is what I use to, like, you know, give like the offers alert and everything like that, or, you know, the plugs, or turn my microphone on and off. And so I have a kill switch, and it stops the stream. There's two ways to stop the stream. You stop the stream where it's like it just plays out its normal buffer. Now keep in mind, we're on about a 15-second delay. So whatever I'm saying right now, you're hearing it 15 seconds after I say it. Okay? And that's, you know, some people have no delay. I think with Perry, it's important to have a delay, just in case. I've never had to use it. But in case he says something really stupid. And I'm not talking about him saying, oh, I'm going to kill myself or something stupid like that. You know, I will cut that out after the fact. But live, you know, I'm not going to go crazy about it because of the context it's in. But if he ever said like a real danger word or something like that, I will end the stream. And what it does is it takes the delay and it just discards it completely. I actually hit it accidentally on Friday at the end of the stream as Ricky Horny was finishing. Normally I end the stream when the song ends for me. I end the stream, and then about 15 seconds later, the stream ends normally, and it uses all of its buffer and you know, all that, and then it ends. I ended the stream by killing the buffer, and I think it just ended abruptly. So anyway, what it does is it discards the delay. So if Perry, let's say, says something, let's say bad word, the second I hear it, I would end the stream and discard the delay, and it would never go out over the air. So you guys would never hear it. And that would just be it. And then I'd go, you know, I'd probably talk to him and say, hey, Perry, calm the F down and go back on the air. And nobody would be the wiser. But if that ever happens, I'd be honest about it, because sometimes we have technical issues and the stream freezes and it ends. Although I think I did troubleshoot that where that won't happen again, hopefully. But yeah, so that's the PCL kill switch. Yeah. If you think Tom has it bad with Perry now, just look at what Tom had to deal with before PCL. That was really bad. Brother, have you ever said the truth? That is true. that is definitely true. I hope Perry will compete with Tony Hawk on Just Dance. Well, he's definitely going to play some games with Tony Hawk and hopefully Garrett, because I think playing with somebody and having people teach him will be cool. I like the no earpiece. We get to hear everything good and bad. Yeah. I see the little things like needling him, like telling him to pick up the energy. That would be stuff I would tell him in the earpiece. And every now and again, I would remind him of, like I would feed him a line or something like that, something that he normally says, just to get the train moving a little bit. But I could tell that, some people take that the wrong way and think that, Perry's just being marionetted, which isn't true. But sometimes I can tell by looking at him. And again, tonight, there was a number of instances where I might have nudged him a little bit, where he just doesn't respond to like a tip comment. It'll just go by and he'll just stand there with this blank face and he'll just say whatever. And normally I would come in and be either on the mic or in his ear and be like, hey Perry, you got to say more than that. You can't just say whatever, because I can always tell when he's losing steam. But now I've kind of come to terms with, I'm just going to live or die by whatever he is. And I am guilty sometimes of wanting the best possible version of PCL, and that's not always going to be possible with Perry, and I just gotta accept that, and I know you guys probably accept it more than I do, but I get really annoyed sometimes where he just kind of spaces out or is not paying attention or is talking over a comment or whatever. Somebody says, my biggest issue with Nintendo is they don't know how to put games on sale. That's true. Once in a rare while. Like right now, there's a lot of first-party Nintendos on sale for the Mario thing. But yeah, they don't do big scale things, the sales on them. How bad was Perry's rant during when I muted him? It wasn't that bad per se. I could hear it when he's muted. You guys don't, but I hear it. I just was like, he was getting into like this, I'm going back to Jehovah's Witnesses nonsense routine. And I didn't want to give that any play. And I kind of wanted him to, I used to have a graphic on the screen that tells him when he's muted. See, if I had that, it would have been a lot better. I got to get that back. So yeah, but no, he didn't say anything crazy. It was just his usual thing. But I also think it's kind of funny just to look at him visually ranting, while he's muted. I'm not going to make too much of a habit out of that, but every now and again. You want to send him a PC steering wheel so you can see what he drives? Yeah. I don't know about the steering wheel. I don't know about crazy accessories. Let's see if he does it. Tyler, am I caught up on Red Bar? No, I talked about that kind of extensively. No, I'm not caught up on Red Bar. That year they took off kind of had an effect on me, where I just, not that I lost interest, I kind of just fell out of the habit of listening to Red Bar. So no, I'm very behind. I started listening when they first came back for a few weeks, and I just kind of fell out with it because I wasn't really caught up on it. Does anybody call me Tommy? Yeah, my mom called me Tommy. My sisters call me Tommy. My aunt calls me Tommy. Basically, all the females in my family call me Tommy. And some people do. Some people call me Tommy. So yeah, if you started watching Red Bar again, that's cool. I just haven't been able to get into it, and it might fall back to what I was talking about earlier, where I just kind of lost all my passions over the past year. So yeah, my favorite Mario game. Mario game. That's a tough one. I go back and forth on that. I'll tell you what. I really loved playing Super Mario 3D World, and because I didn't have a Wii U when that came out, and I played it on the Switch, and I loved it. I told the story last week where I played through Super Mario 3D World, and I got all the stars, all the bookmarks, collected everything. Was up to the very last world that I was kind of saving because it was challenging. And Teddy, who's just recently started to like play games on his own, erased my file, and I lost it completely. And I'm still not over it. I'm gonna have to go with Super Mario World, the Super Nintendo Super Mario game. A close second would be Super Mario 3 for the NES. And a distant third would... I really like Mario 64 because it was such a game changer. I like all... There's not a game I don't like. There's some I like better than others. But I've enjoyed all of them. I've never really played through Sunshine. And I have it. When the Super Mario 3D All-Stars came out, I bought that. That one I can't really rank. I love Super Mario Galaxy. I never played Super Mario Galaxy 2. Never had that one. That's a Mario mainline game I've never played. And it's I don't know why they didn't put that on the Switch when they put the other ones on. So I never played that. And I loved Odyssey. I love Super Mario Odyssey. TomB, I am the reason I watch Perry. The way you keep him in line is so funny. Oh, I'm the reason you watch Perry. Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, even like I never really. I always kind of shit on the Super Mario Brothers 2, the U.S. version of Super Mario Brothers 2. But even that I've kind of got into, in later years. Like I appreciate it for what it is, even though I don't understand it. Not to get into the Mario weeds, but Super Mario Brothers 2 is supposed to be like the end of the game. You find out it's all a dream and Mario just dreamed it. And what I don't understand about that is, in canon, why are the characters from Super Mario Brothers 2, the US edition, why are they also in other games? Like later Mario games, like Mario Kart or whatever, because it was a dream. So like you see Shy Guys in other games, like he's in that Yoshi game, Yoshi's Crafted World, which Teddy plays. How are they possibly in these games as real characters, or like Birdo or any of those characters when it's supposed to be a dream? So I don't know. That's probably a ludicrous thing, but I don't know why that bothers me. But the end of it's supposed to be a dream. Do the Mario, yeah. Teddy actually watches now on YouTube the Super Mario Brothers Super Show with Lou Albano, and do the Mario that, and he loves it, which is great. Have I ever watched the Summoning Salt videos on YouTube? He makes in-depth histories of speedruns and old games. No, there's a speedrun channel I watch that kind of, the guy, he's from Australia, and he calls out fakes. Like he blows through like people that have cheated in speedruns, which is like the most humiliating thing ever. I forget the guy's name, but I watch a couple of things. Anyway, I should probably call it a night. I'll get into more stuff at another time. But yeah, I think I covered all the bases of stuff from the stream of this weekend. I'm sorry if people got pissed off. I was very upset when Perry did what he did on Friday with destroying the artwork. So, hopefully we can get past that, and maybe there'll be a light from it. Did Teddy ever watch the Super Mario Brothers movie? No, not the live action one with Bob Hoskins. No, but we are going to see he's very excited about the new movie. Like, he's beyond excited. So that's going to be really cool seeing with him. Billy Mitchell got exposed as a cheater. Yeah, I know. I'm very curious to see what the Billy Mitchell thing turns out. I don't want to say anything about Billy Mitchell. Apparently, he sues anybody that says anything like remotely negative, calling him out. So yeah, don't say anything bad about Billy Mitchell. He'll go after you aggressively. So yeah, he does dance at the end credits too. Teddy does. He dances to that Do the Mario song. He does. He loves music and he does dance, and that's, I'm hoping Teddy will be my gateway to restore some of my passions, because he certainly has a lot of them, and it's very nice to live vicariously through the eyes of a 5-year-old discovering things for the first time, and and he shits on some things that I like to watch on YouTube. I still have them in my algorithm. I haven't watched them in a while, but like I'll watch these like speaker review guys, like guys who just talk about speakers, or like audiophile guys, and he calls them speaker guys, and he'll be like, "Why are you watching speaker guys? Like, I don't want we'll watch something together." I was like, "Hey Teddy, you want to watch some speaker guys?" He's like, "No, I hate speaker guys." And I'll goof on something he likes, so it's cute. But he likes a lot of interesting old school stuff. It's cool. So, yes, I'll pass on to Teddy that you guys were all asking about him and wishing him well. He's on the rebound now. Good night, TomB. Thanks for all the hard work wrangling Perry. It's been harder than usual lately. I know some people say, I've heard from more than one person, it's like, Tom, it sounds like you're defeated. Tom, it sounds like you're ready to quit. I don't mean to project that. Maybe I'm just tired. I'm not quitting Perry. I can't quit Perry. It's impossible. It's a life commitment, unfortunately. Or fortunately, however you look at it. I'm not going anywhere, even if it sounds like I'm annoyed or beat up or tired or whatever. I'm probably just tired, but I'm not walking away and any of that stuff. So you're fine. Good night, sweet dreams. We'll see you on Friday. Eventually, we'll do another Wednesday stream. I think that'll come up sometime in April. I'll see what can happen. Billy Mitchell should be Perry's gaming net, as they can sue each other. I know they're both equally bad at it. So yeah, I think Billy Mitchell's got to buy some chimichangas and head over to his attorney's place to draft up some married things. Tom is married to Perry. Boy, you're on the pulse of things. That's kind of what it is. I will, Cha-Cha, I'll say hi to my dad for you. I'll pass that along. His birthday is on Sunday. We're going out to a nice fancy dinner with a friend of mine, so that should be fun. I'll hopefully tell you all about it next week. But yeah, have a good week, guys. If you're into baseball, be excited that baseball's coming back. And yeah, we'll catch up again at another point. We'll next see you on Mailbag Friday. I might have some Patreon things to upload this week. I'm a little behind on that. And yeah, hey guys, I love you. Thanks for allowing me to detox from Perry with you. I appreciate all of you. I love the PCL community, and I'm not saying that in a disingenuous, phony way. I hope you know me well enough now. When I'm saying things like that, I'm being real and sincere. I don't do phony well. So if I say something like that, I mean it, and I mean it. I do love you guys. I love the community, and I love being able to detox, because I do need considerable time to detox from PCL, and you guys help facilitate that. So I'm very grateful, and thank you. So I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you in some form on Friday, if not next Monday. Thanks for hanging out after hours. PCL for life. Have a great week.